Hello. Hello, I'm back. Oh, give me a minute. Let me just see if everything looks fine. I'm so tired. I've been busy the last couple days and I just want to go to bed. I just want to go to sleep.
Father was got me.
I'm so tired.
But when I started meditating on the balcony, I could hear the radio broadcast from next door.
Hold on. Let me see. That right.
Welcome to the show. Then it
see
became the
here.
highlight of my day.
That doesn't look right. I guess it's fine. Sorry, hold on. My OBS. Supposed to be fine. Up. It's just... Yeah, everything looks fine. Everything's the same settings. Nothing's different. So... Oh, wait. There. I don't know why that thing isn't supposed to be there. Okay, there. It's fine now. Yep, there we go. Okay, yep, that's better. All right. We're back in this game. I've been busy the last couple days. So I was supposed to play this Monday, but I was like busy. And then I was busy again on Tuesday, so I couldn't stream the last 2 days. But we're back. We're gonna finish up this thing. I don't think I have anything going on today. So I should be able to finish this up today. Before we move on, I'm just gonna quickly grab something. I forgot to grab a drink before I started. So let me go grab one right now. So you give me a minute. All right, where were we? Oh, okay, let's see. I really want to finish this up today. Oh shoot. Give me a sec.
Ladies, I must apologize for what happened back there. We were caught off guard. There has never been a commotion of that scale before. I must report this to the physician.
Don't worry, Miss Jailer. We made it out in one piece.
Thank you for your understanding. Ordinarily, I would arrange to escort you to a safer location.
Oh shit.
But I'm afraid at this hour you'll have missed the last train.
I accidentally dropped my mouse.
Icy at night.
Oh, hold on, wait. I'm missing... wait a sec, hold on. Oh, it's over here. One sec. Let me just quickly... Okay. Hearing this, Recoleta exchanges a quick but meaningful expression with her companions.
Vernon, We can't leave like this. We appreciate your kind consideration, Miss Jailer. But we still have some unfinished business here.
I see. I'll arrange a clean room in a safer section for you.
Give me a minute, hold on. All right.
We'll do our best to ensure your safety tonight.
A night falls as the girls huddle together, scrutinizing their unfamiliar surroundings.
They actually found us a spare room.
Bleak, quiet, and somber. It's a cell like all the others. Don't worry. This isn't the first time we've ended up on the wrong side of the bars.
Yep. The only difference is that that Regulus is not here with us.
At least this time we're just here for the night, not a full sentence.
Sonetto lets out a whisper thin protest.
Though this cell is quite different from the ones we've been in before. Not just the cell. The whole prison is unlike anything I've seen.
Hold on. Is my... Okay, no, everything looks fine,
And
okay.
the society they've been running here isn't some mere pastime. They're having real discussions about meaningful topics, even though the rest of the world has been cut off from them.
But we're still in an Arcanist prison, a place where conflicts and violence can erupt at any moment. Let's Miss Jailer warned us from the start. These prisoners are mentally unstable and potentially dangerous.
I'm planning on picking up a new mic because I've had this one for like a while, and I'm thinking about like grabbing and getting a new one.
Miss Recoleta, with all due respect, we can't afford to see this place through rose-colored glasses. We'd be overlooking the risks, as we did earlier.
And with all due respect, Sonetto, we didn't overlook any danger. At least I didn't. A writer must be observant if she is to accurately reflect the world in her writing.
But you...
We came here with different goals. And still, none of them have been accomplished. I suggest we focus on our respective missions, instead of fighting with one another.
Apologies, Timekeeper. Miss Recoleta, I take back everything I said.
Don't apologize, Sonetto. I'm at fault too. Sometimes I forget that words can be as sharp as swords. You were only thinking about our safety. I shouldn't have been so rude. I actually really admire how you fought back there. If you'd allow me, I'd like to write a poem for you, once my novel's finished. That's terribly kind of you. But honestly, I think we've had enough poetry today to last a lifetime. Let me know if you change your mind. By the way, did either of you see what happened to the idealist?
Recalling the recent conflict, the indomitable girl finally hesitates.
The jailer told me she went back to the gallery once everything calmed down. She found nothing. No blood, no shell cases, not even a trace of the idealist.
Timekeeper, now's really not the time for ghost stories.
Do you mean that maybe the idealist somehow managed to get out of there on his own? Or perhaps someone else helped him? Well, according to the idealist and our jailer, any inmates who are unwell will be taken to the physician. It's possible someone brought him there, while everyone else was shouting and running about. You're right. It could be that he's with the physician right now. I'm relieved. That was a sudden plot twist, but a visionary of his magnitude doesn't deserve to die in silence like that. To be fair, the gunshot was quite loud, as was the ensuing commotion. Nonetheless, he couldn't have just died like that. I mean, the writers would riot if a writer were to kill off a character so abruptly. But you believe he's still alive too. Am I right?
She knows her words are merely a cover. She needs an answer, a real, undeniable answer.
There's nothing that we can be certain of for now. But on a brighter note, we didn't come back empty-handed from our mission either, Sonetto. We found Dr. Dorres' signature in the gallery. You were right all along, Recoleta. She was here.
But we didn't see her at the gathering. Could something have happened to her, like with the idealist?
Do you think she was also sent to the physician and never made it back?
This is all just speculation. If we want to find the idealist, or Dr. Dorres, we need to speak to this physician first. Miss Recoleta, do you believe that the idealist could be your pen pal, Aleph?
Whether he is or not, he's still my best lead.
That name touches a nerve once again.
Amigas, I've had this strange feeling in my gut since we got here. Something is slowing us down. Now to figure out what it is.
A silent fear grips her like ripples suddenly appearing on a once still lake, unsettling in its quiet disturbance.
Look, it's a wild guess, but just wait till I finish. It feels like everything happening in this prison is somehow connected to my novel, El auge y la caída de la cordura.
We're no strangers to wild guesses, and sometimes they're closer to the truth than you'd think. So this,
The rise and fall of sanity.
sorry. What exactly is your story about?
The question scatters the midnight gloom. Outside, moonlight spills over gray-white snow.
Huh. Nunca pensé que te interesaría. It starts... Sorry, it's been a while since I told it from the beginning. A few years ago, I worked as a forest ranger. It happened in a desert town called Amalfitano, in Sonora, back in 1975.
Two patient listeners watch the stammering girl waiting for the next part of her story.
You know what? Most people say the beginning's a bit hard to get into, except for Aleph. I'm thinking of rewriting it. But if you like the sound of it so far, maybe I could read you the latest part I just finished?
She studies her readers' expressions, guessing madly at their responses.
Please. Todo empezó con los datos de frecuencia de las cintas. El patrón general parecía haber cambiado. Al principio, la investigadora de paracausalidad lo atribuyó a un error estadístico. Un fallo, tal vez. Oh, sorry. But after a few days and long nights of meticulous calculations, that explanation only became less and less plausible. The odds of success and failure kept shifting, and the chance of repeating the previous result kept growing. It was as she took her findings to Amalfitano, the town of nothing, as they called it then. Near the old looms, she met a blind weaver who spoke softly of an old tale. I heard a strange rustling at dawn, like a die rolling along a wooden floor. Then the morning light dimmed and died. That was the last time I saw the sun, my own hands, or the threads I worked with. The second time I heard the die roll, I was told the oxen in the field sank to their knees and never stood again. By the third roll, the fields were crawling with frogs. Plows ran over them, and some still writhed, squeezing themselves deeper into the cracks in the earth. The fourth time the die rolled, 10 dormice plunged into the sea in a strange sleepwalk, and 10 bears feasted for the last time before winter arrived. The final roll of the die was cast in a cage during a duel, before a crowd of eager eyes the winner left with 10 pounds of gold, and the loser left with 10 flies, which fell on him to feast.
The quiet spreads through their cell like a rolling tide.
Is that all?
Seems like it.
Well, there's more, but I haven't quite figured those parts out yet. Any thoughts? Anything. I can take it. Please, I really need some feedback.
I wonder if the protagonist ever finds this die of Babylon in the end.
Oh, Verton, it isn't a real die, it's just a metaphor.
Oh, I see. I must have missed that. Sorry. Still, it's a beautiful story. Sad, but beautiful.
The story is still too obscure, isn't it? Aleph warned me about this. In our last correspondence, he suggested adding the Blind Weaver to shed light on the hidden theme. It helped at first, but even with a sage advice, no matter how hard I tried, the plot just didn't seem to move forward. Feel stuck in that village with them, lost, dazed, isolated inside their small, disconnected moments. Something crucial is missing, leaving gaps between the characters and the scenes. Should I change the storyteller's perspective? Start a different angle? Or maybe rewrite the characters completely? What should I do?
And before the writer sinks into a swirling vortex of self-doubt, someone decides to push for something tangible.
Apologies, but you said your story somehow connects to what's happening here in the Panopticon. What makes you think that?
It's a strange feeling. Like, everything here belongs to a dream I once had. Only, I can't remember it.
Do you mean that you have a sense of déjà vu? It's nothing to worry about. Our psychiatrist friend Kakania told me those moments are often the result of a dysfunctional connection between two parts of the brain. Like a little glitch in our heads.
No, it's nothing like déjà vu.
The storyteller snaps back, politely agitated.
Déjà vu is a single moment, a specific situation. But here it's everything. La sociedad, the rules, the idealist, even the incidents in the gallery. Each one unfolds in a similar pattern, like the grooves on a record, telling a story I feel I've listened to before. Amalfitano and Comala. They're two sides of that same record, playing out the same tune. Whatever happens in my story seems to be happening here too. I had that feeling when I met you as well, Miss Verton. At first I thought it was only an interesting coincidence. You're much like the first character in my story. A traveler with a suitcase.
The girl rambles on, desperately relating to her characters.
But then I realized, the doctor, your Dores, she's like the Blind Weaver who lost her sight to the die despite having always been faithful to it. And the jailer, she's the bank clerk who assisted the corporation in taking over the town in order to escape her past. And the idealist, he's the murdered donkey driver. And the die of Babylon. Mis queridos amigos ficticios. ¿Qué rayos les está pasando?
Wait. Are you saying that everyone we've met here matches a character from your story? Like some kind of archetype? That sounds unbelievable. But then again, maybe you're onto something. You see the world through a different lens that none of us share.
Not just the characters. The events here are mirroring my story too. Aleph. He's the only one who truly understood my story. If things are playing out just like my novel, then maybe Aleph is in fact still here.
Are you suggesting that someone is controlling the Panopticon in order to make it follow the same plot as your story? That they've set the rules, started the poetry group, planned the attack on the Idealist, and tried to prevent us from finding Dr. Dores? If that's true, Miss Recoleta, it's very likely that the one acting against us is in fact Aleph himself.
Recoleta never expected the chain of reasoning to unravel this way.
But No. How could that be possible?
She interrupts only for confusion to creep onto her face moments later.
Why? Why would he do this? I don't see any reason why he'd be connected. He's an intelligent, cultured, and profound person, not a common killer. No, none of this adds up.
Remember, Dr. Doris was brought to Ushuaia by the Xeno rebels. And we know they're connected to Manus Vindicte. If this Aleph really is hiding Doris from us, he may be working with them.
Recoleta stares blankly for a time before clumsily shifting the topic.
Oh, my... Soneto. I didn't know you had such a flair for stories. Maybe you should join us and become a visceral realist too. I think you're only imagining things. Perhaps you were inspired by this strange prison?
Perhaps we all need to start writing our own stories. Come out now. Whoever's out there, speak up. How can we help you?
Who's there?
Alright. Oh, nice. Okay, I got my team.
Join with us, comrades.
Más allá del concepto... En todos los momentos.
It's newly made this year.
Más allá del concepto mundano. A truly villainous moment.
Got you.
En la acumulación de laberintos, suéltalo todo una vez más. Nuestro aliado es la verdad. Not a fan of my work, I take it? El camino a Tlón. El camino a Tlón. Keep up the pace. En la acumulación de laberintos, suéltalo todo una vez más.
I remember it's called...
Alright.
Easy, easy. It's me, Garcia. We met at the gallery earlier. Please, I come in peace.
Recoleta pays no mind to the young man's explanations. Her focus holds on the woman beside him.
It's you, Octavia! The murderer herself!
Please, calm yourself, Miss Recoleta. The jailer has already confirmed that she wasn't the one to fire at the idealist. The shot came from somewhere else in the room.
Recoleta bites her lip, giving up a little space to the intruders.
Miss Octavia, what brings you here at this hour?
I come here out of goodwill. Believe me, I didn't want any bloodshed either. I understand you just arrived today. There's something you need to know about the inmates here.
Their visitor's expression is weary and low.
We're outcasts, rejected by society and literature, and our privileges are limited within these walls. But before I started my own literature group, I struck a deal with the Panopticon authorities. If we cooperate and stay out of trouble, they'd leave us be. We could discuss literature freely and openly in Comala. Such a thing may seem trivial to you, but this is of immense importance to us.
Oh, there's no happier thing in this world than discussing literature. No one should ever put limits on it.
You're right, Recoleta. but we're prisoners here. There are certain rules we have to follow, except the idealist didn't see it our way. He refused to compromise, believing that the long poem and his so-called ism could break us free from the cage of the ever-watchful eye.
Perhaps he was right. You might have achieved more if you'd listened to him. After all, visceral realism keeps us connected to who we are. You have to believe in the truth of visceral realism, because out there, beyond these walls, many of us still do.
And what has it changed? Garcia, you're the latest inmate here. Tell us, 3 months ago, before they arrested you and took you here, what has the visceral realism movement accomplished out there?
Beside them, Garcia, who had been patiently leaning against the railing, produces a metallic vibration on its grate. A rough paper roll burns between his lips.
At first, it was revolutionary. Young poets joined in droves. We held gatherings. And the literary world seemed alive again. I was just a kid when the leading poets left the city. Everyone thought it was only temporary. But it didn't come back. And nothing has happened since. No one says it. But we all know. Visceral realism died in 1977.
No, not for me. It's not dead as long as people still believe in it. I believe in it.
Octavia ignores the childish remark. She knows that conviction can be as fragile as a spider's web.
Belief, faith, what is this obsession with the true self? Why does your type always insist on there being a true self hiding beneath our roles in society? Our disciplines?
Look at the idealist. He never once stopped fighting for what he believed in, even long after he was put behind these bars.
Idealist, what a name he gave himself. Who will he be when he finally breaks free from the eyes of the central tower? When he's left without his willful audience? And nobody. That's why. And that is a truth even he is terrified of.
Miss Octavia, I hope you've come with something more important to share than just some criticism of the idealist.
You're right. I have an important message for you. Dr. Torres. I heard you were looking for her. The woman from the Sao Paulo Veterans Residence. She used to write under the name Erd, didn't she?
Yes, that's right. Do you know her? You're the first person I've met here to speak plainly about her. Do you know where she might be?
We crossed paths, but only briefly. I'm not sure where she's gone. Maybe the authorities know. However, she left this with me. I think you'll need it more than I do.
Octavia hands over her personal folder. But before they might open it, she had already turned to leave.
We have other matters to attend to. I'll leave you to your business. Garcia, shall we?
The visitors leave in haste, their faces and expressions obscured by the night's shadows. Foundation's investigators open the worn manuscript folder with caution.
The physician told me the horrifying truth about the panopticon of Kamala and the power behind it. Manus Vindictae, by becoming the panopticon's sole patron, they seized control of the resources and the allocation system, turning this place into a living hell. I suspect that the physician, the current highest authority here, is responsible for this situation. I discovered that the inmates were put through brutal training, even when they were too sick to carry out their tasks. They also forced pure-blood Arcanist inmates to wear their masks, effectively turning them into murmuring puppets.
Just as we suspected. Manus Vindictae is orchestrating everything. No wonder we didn't find them in the city. They've been hiding here all along.
No one would have thought to come looking for them here.
They snap the folder shut. A familiar signature seen on the forward page of Utu magazine and the receipt from found in Sao Paulo's heartfelt home.
But why would Miss Octavia bring this to us? What's in it for her? Do you think she's trying to mislead us, Timekeeper?
Maybe. But the handwriting in that notebook is most certainly Erd's. If she's leading us astray on purpose, why? Miss Recoleta, what do you think? Could she be Aleph? Not a chance. Haven't you seen how she denies everything beautiful in the world? Aleph would never be so biased. No. Aleph is like a mirror. He reflects both light and shadow. But, Octavia, maybe she hasn't looked at the shadow within for a long time. I know that look on her face. It's the look of a writer. I've seen so many like her during my trip. The faces of a lost, struggling generation.
Under the night sky, Kamala prison stands like a forgotten gravestone covered by fine cold snow. In a room repurposed from a prison cell, three girls in search of someone share an absurd, bizarre tale. Meanwhile, at the entrance of the central watchtower, a jaguar knocks on a secure door.
Dr. Merlin, I'm here to report on today's events.
Come in.
Frantic writing breaks the quiet of the room. Jailer's visit does not deter the man behind the desk. He continues writing, fully absorbed, as if each letter were filling the world around him.
There was a commotion in the gallery today, sir. An inmate known as the Idealist was severely injured. The inmates nearby said he lost consciousness from blood loss. However, after we put everyone back in their cell, the Idealist was gone. I made a sweep of the grounds, but there was no trace of him. It's possible that he regained consciousness and went into hiding. I'll perform a full search tomorrow.
The Jaguar finds herself quite unexpectedly concealing the truth about Pablo.
No need.
Sir?
He knew the consequences of breaking the rules, did he not?
Sir, with all due respect, I think today's incident proved just how dangerous it is to let the inmates keep their weapons. We never should have let them walk around with deadly weapons. Even if we had to, we should have doubled the guards. We can't expect them to follow their own rules simply out of fear of the central tower.
The physician interrupts her sharply with no hint of concern.
Such matters fall beyond your purview, jailer. You only need to do what's required of your title. Is there anything else?
There is another thing. 2 guests from the Foundation came through today. They said they were looking for someone named Doris. They've shown a willingness to cooperate, though they were involved with the incident in Corridor Zero.
Sound of writing continues. Her report is disregarded. The jailer takes a deep breath. The next part is difficult to say.
Sir, there is one more thing. I told Miss Octavia we're short on rations, and she's adjusted the inmates' portions accordingly, but that won't last long. Manus Vindicti stopped providing supplies back in March, and Sino has collected all the prisoners they had previously placed in her custody. I just wonder why they have so suddenly withdrawn from Ushuaia and brought all the prisoners with them. I also noticed that we haven't received any orders from the government since Warden Tartuffe was transferred. In fact, we haven't had any communication with them at all. Sir, in frank terms, we're facing down a serious shortage of medicine, food, and basic supplies. At this rate, the Panopticon will soon be unable to operate. Where will our inmates go then?
The man before her says nothing for a long time, his pen still flickering over the page.
Can we ask the Foundation for help? They've sent their people here. Maybe they're interested in the Panopticon? I could arrange a meeting if you like.
You're unusually talkative today.
The man finally stops writing and looks up.
Pardon, sir?
That's fascinating, you know. You've become so much more concerned about this place and its inmates than when you first started. You are now dictated by your title.
I didn't mean to overstep. I'm sorry.
You can go now. I have a great deal of work to do. Oh, and one more thing.
He beckons the jailer back before she leaves.
Make sure this month's Kamala Congress is held according to schedule.
Yes, sir.
The jaguar disappears beyond the door, metallic footsteps fading into the distance. Only then does the physician allow his suppressed frustration to surface.
How many times have I warned you about this? The idealist has to go. He's nothing but trouble for us. You're too soft on him, Aleph. Look at the mess he has us in now. Calm down. He's a rabble-rousing thief, a self-destructive maniac, a snake in the grass. He even stole the Tea of Kamala from me. He's nearly ruined everything we've worked for.
Oh, the dice. The man angrily raises the once lost and now found die. In the dim room, it flickers with a comforting glow.
It's only a die, Merlin. It does nothing more than a die can do. You were there today. You saw what he did. He managed to change the panopticon with this die, even if only for a second. He'll ruin my work, Aleph. He's a slave to his passion. His head is filled with impulsive thoughts. I don't trust him. We can't trust him. I've done everything you've asked. Now it's time to do your part.
Aleph responds with indifference to the physician's frustration, continuing his writing without pause.
Time's ticking down. I can't afford any further mistakes. No one can be permitted to stop my experiment in the Panoptic. I'll prove it to them. That we have found the path to the ultimate answer.
The ant mill. Alright.
La cabaña con el techo azul estaba silenciosa como siempre. En un sueño fugaz, la investigadora de paracausalidad descubrió la verdad detrás del dado de Babilonia. Examinó cuidadosamente los patrones ocultos, como un astuto astrólogo rastrea los movimientos de las estrellas. Lo que pueda parecer errores o accidentes no niega las verdades del destino. Por el contrario, afirman su existencia. Solo pregúntale al gran Heráclito. En un universo no observado, el dado de Babilonia gira perpetuamente, dictando el destino de todos en un tiempo que es tanto infinitamente largo como infinitamente corto. Mira, cerró los ojos. Respetaba la aleatoriedad de los números y el destino. Respetaba el juicio del dado. De lo contrario, se habría perdido sumisamente en los huecos del tiempo y bajaría para siempre como un fantasma en el olvido.
In the solemn prison hall, under the half-light of the next day, the prisoners of Kamala gather. Octavia steps onto the podium with a stern expression.
First, allow me to make one thing clear. I had absolutely nothing to do with what happened to the Idealist yesterday. I swear it on my career as a writer. As you all know, the Idealist and I are the representatives of the two factions of La Sociedad de Poetas de las Américas. As you also know, we have been at peace since the Let Sleeping Dogs Lie agreement was signed a few months ago. Despite our differing views, we have coexisted to this day under the watchful gaze of the Central Tower. Rest assured that we will work tirelessly to locate the missing Idealist.
Don't put so much pressure on yourself, Miss Octavia. His death wasn't your fault. After all, he was the one who threw the first verbal dagger.
The murmurs cascading below reach the ears of the prisoners from another faction.
Show some respect, you morons. The Idealist is missing, not dead. I'm sure he'll show up in one piece before we know it.
Better face the hard truth now, Roberta. Though, I have to say, it won't be easy for you to find a new leader as mad as him.
Polite cough from the hostess pauses the heated debate.
Please, everyone, quiet down. According to the agreement, today's Congress should have been chaired by the Idealist. Since he is still missing, I will be acting on his...
Pardon my lateness. Go ahead. I'm ready to moderate.
Familiar footsteps break the regular pattern of events. Jailer leads her visitors to the entrance of the prison hall.
Miss Vert, I looked over the incarceration and visitor records from the past 6 months. There was no mention of anyone named Doris.
Then it seems only the physician knows the whereabouts of Dr. Dores. Miss Jailer, we need to meet with the physician. It's important.
Listen, you really shouldn't take the inmates' ramblings too seriously.
Considering the identity of the person before her, the jailer softens her tone.
But if it's as critical as you say, I'll make another request later. That said, I'm afraid the meeting won't happen for at least a few days.
Understood.
For now, please join us for today's Congress.
Espectacular! Do you hold literary salons like this every day? This place is practically a writer's paradise. So, you're the host of the salon, Octavia? I say we set aside our differences and have a titillating literary discussion.
You've come at the right time. You may serve as witnesses for the Congress alongside the jailer, like a citizen's jury in a court.
Your suggestion aligns with the congressional rules. Very well.
Huh? Congress? Witnesses? Isn't this a salon? Which topic are we discussing? Literary theories? Schools? Principles? Languages? Oh, narrative perspectives?
None of those.
Octavia lowers her head, giving her questioner a long and deep look.
This Congress is about the randomness of fate, Miss Recoleta.
Randomness of fate?
As she sinks into confusion and bewilderment, the jailer's voice rises into a triumphant introduction.
Dear visitors from the Foundation, allow me to introduce the Kamala Congress. What happened yesterday was merely a brief anomaly. In the Panopticon, spontaneous order among the inmates is the norm, and the Kamala Congress serves as its truest reflection.
Spontaneous order?
Yes. Through the Congress, the inmates assign and distribute medication, communal duties, and rest periods. They are entirely self-regulated.
Her tone is filled with pride.
I hereby announce the commencement of the 7th Kamala Congress.
Oh, a box. Okay. And a die. Oh. As her words fall, Octavia takes out a worn lottery box and a small trinket from her hand. The prisoners move in perfect order like a swarm of ants.
A cardboard box, and is that a paper die? It has 20 sides.
Huh?
We carefully examine hidden patterns, much like an astute astrologer tracks the movements of the stars.
Isn't this...
From somewhere in the audience, the girl unconsciously mumbles a revelation.
Isn't this just like the Die of Babylon? The MacGuffin that weaves through the entire plot? The infinite symbiote of fate? And the symbol that compresses time into a shriveled circle?
What may seem like errors or accidents doesn't negate the verities of destiny. On the contrary, they affirm its very existence. Just ask the great Heraclito. In an unobserved universe, the die spins in perpetuity.
Dictating the fate of all in time that is both infinitely long and infinitely short?
Look, I've closed my eyes. I respect the randomness of numbers and destiny. I respect the die's judgment.
As prisoners recite their announcements, the author's voice becomes more and more sluggish.
Otherwise, we will acquiesce and lose ourselves in the gaps of time and wander forever as ghosts in oblivion.
I don't understand what's going on. Oh, but the irony that I probably have more idea what's going on than anyone here.
Miss Recoleta, this is all in your novel, isn't it?
I'm afraid so. The recitations, the references to an astrologer and Heraclito, they couldn't possibly be just a coincidence. Then, could it be? Will they look to the die to dictate their fate?
The girl's audible shock does not affect the proceedings on stage. The Congress continues.
I shall perform the first roll. Its result will determine the subsequent roll order for this Congress.
The hostess tosses the 20-sided die into the cardboard box and begins shaking it rhythmically.
The result is 5. This check complies with the prerequisite conditions of the ruling of the die, and the standard roll order has been established. Inmate Jose, please come forth. You are the first in the initiative order. Therefore, fate's judgment shall fall upon you before all else.
Me? Okay.
The prisoner steps forward, taking the fragile box in his hand, shaking it to roll the die of absurd fate inside. The die stops, and just like that, a simple number decides his fate.
17! It's 17! Ah, what a wonderful number! 17! Like an oasis in an endless desert.
The result is 17, and the score combination 6 plus 4 plus 4 plus 3. According to the ruling of the die, he shall receive 60 risperidone tablets, 40 clozapine tablets, and 40 diazepam tablets. Additionally, he will assume the role of cultural manager of the Comala Congress. Before he takes office, inmate Jose must clean the first restroom for the next 7 days.
Wonderful! I'll gladly clean the toilet. I've got the brooms here, the toilet detergent, oh, and the toilet brush too. I have been waiting for this opportunity. As cultural manager, I will speak with every inmate and complete the Comala memoir, finally capturing the moments when literary sparks ignite and explode.
Next is inmate Eduardo. Please come forth.
The man in question is a nervous mess. His gaze flickers, his eyebrows fight for space and on his forehead, and his teeth flash against each other in turmoil.
But I can't remember the ruling of the die. I can't remember anything. Damn it. Sorry, Senora Octavia, but I don't think I can do this. I didn't get any medication in the last Congress. I've had multiple episodes. It's like my brain's jammed or something.
It's all right, inmate Eduardo. It's easy. You don't need to know the rules to roll the die. Give me your hand. I'll help you.
Prisoner follows suit, hands trembling as he shakes the box, the only thing he can do.
My sincerest apologies, inmate Eduardo. The die dictates that you must voluntarily descend into the sewers and write the thematic keyword that currently causes you the most anxiety on the walls.
Thank you very much, Miss Octavia. I think my head's about to split in half. I need a moment to rest before I head down there and fulfill my destiny.
Clutching his head, the prisoner leaves, his steps heavy, his hands empty, but his brow finally falling at ease.
Jailer, are you really letting them make every decision with the roll of a die? Eduardo is clearly in a much more dire condition than Jose. The medication should have been given to him.
As I said, this is how the inmates of the Panopticon maintain order. The physician periodically provides medication, food, and other necessities, and the inmates distribute them in this spontaneous and efficient manner. Neither authority nor violence is involved in this process. This is what sets Comala apart from all other custodial facilities.
Is that it? You abdicate all agency to the roll of a paper die and call it the randomness of fate? What kind of sick joke is this?
Please calm down, Recoleta. This is the method that the inmates have collectively decided to recognize. They're prepared to face the possible sacrifices that it brings. This isn't about you or me. It's not our place to interfere with a procedure that has been proven both pragmatic and effective. My duty is to assist the inmates in maintaining order through the methods that they have established. And yours is to witness their self-governance, not judge it.
And the jailer takes a deep breath, her words clearly meant to convince herself as much as anyone listening.
If everything somehow unfolds as it does in my novel, then every role is already predetermined. Verton, do you remember the story I told you last night? The odds of both success and failure were consecutively multiplied. I remember. As soon as a character experiences a failure, they continue to suffer failures in an endless chain reaction. None of Eduardo's future dice rolls will ever result in a number higher than 10. At this rate, this system, this sociedad, ruled by the dice of Babylon, is bound to collapse.
As she looks around, realizing that her words, weighty as they seem to her, have gathered no attention.
Eduardo will never receive any medication. The moment he writes the keyword on the wall could very well be the moment he spells out his own death. No, I can't let this happen. I have to do something.
Recoleta rushes to the stage.
Wait, Miss Recoleta, what are you doing?
Few soldiers would appreciate the idea of taking orders from an accursed die. A skilled commander would never rely on luck to make decisions. On the battlefield, the distance for every maneuver should be clear and precise, not two numbers with a D in the middle, unless you're looking to invite a mutiny. That said, if a die with such power were placed in a soldier's hand, I'm pretty sure they'd roll it and let it decide their destiny.
Luck won't always be on your side.
Exactly. There's no good luck without bad luck. Just as a coin must have two sides, luck essentially defines one's entire life. And whether it's make or break, life or death, the die will keep on rolling. Of course, dice aren't the only tools used to play with fate. Coins, lotteries, even shells on the beach can all serve the same purpose. Thanks to the randomness of fate, a Babylonian may rise to be a proconsul one day and fall into slavery the next.
Some tragedies could have been avoided.
Well, that's where historians come in. With a little creative editing of the history books, even the random rolls of a die can suddenly make sense. What were once avoidable tragedies are rebranded as reasonable incidents, or even desirable outcomes.
At least the roll of a die is impartial.
You're starting to sound like a gambler. But even gamblers, after hitting a hot streak or a losing spell, start to convince themselves that they've figured out the grand pattern behind games of chance. It isn't just gamblers either. Witches tried to influence fate through rituals and charms. Ancient mathematicians calculated probabilities on paper. Some even wrote books on game theory. Meanwhile, others suspected there were cheaters among them. I just hope these high rollers unite to confront the demon who holds the laws of the universe, the past, present, and future, in its claws, and give it a well done and a slap in the face.
You're talking in circles today.
Haven't I always?
It's just that today, the die rolled a peculiar number. But all things considered, I prefer the other kind of commander. The die is cast, but regardless of what number has been rolled, it's time to cross the river.
On the stage, Octavia remains the picture of serenity as she orchestrates the Congress.
Miss Recoleta, as a witness to the Congress, you have the
Give me a
right
minute.
to express your doubts calmly.
Listen, you.
As she recalls the complaints of her two former companions, the jailer's dismissals, and the confused expressions of every editor she has ever faced. If she ever were to lay out every detail of her novel here and now, she would only get the same response.
No, it's nothing. It's just that I'd like to participate in the dice rolling ceremony. May I?
Of course. The very fact that you're standing here in the Panopticon proves that you share a common fate with it.
Recoleta surveys the prisoners waiting to cast their die. Their expressions are serene and trouble, calmly awaiting their fate. The joys of misfortunes of those before them do not affect the long, winding queue in the slightest. She takes a deep breath.
It doesn't matter when I roll the die, since the rolls are simply a reflection of the randomness of fate, right?
Precisely.
Then I'd like to perform my role after the 27th inmate. Is that all right?
As you wish, Miss Recoleta.
All new encounters, okay.
I have all the essentials for writing poetry. You, me, and our opponent.
Is that Campbell's soup? Hold on. No, wait a second. Is that Campbell's soup? Hold on. Wait a second. No. Okay. Does that say Campbell's soup? No. I can't tell. It's the writing's too small. I can't tell if that says Campbell's on it. Okay. Whoops.
En todos, más allá del concepto mundano. Another jar? Huh, a truly villainous moment. Nuestro adversario es el tiempo. There they are. En todos los más allá del concepto mundano del tiempo.
Oh shoot.
Idealismo. Vuelos de fantasía. Do I have to do this?
I moved the wrong one. Whoops. Nothing happens. Okay.
It's newly made this year.
I will remember your sacrifice.
Let's get it over quick.
Sharp face.
Got you. Coming. It's newly made this.
En todos los momentos.
I'll fill the cup for you.
Nuestro aliado es la verdad. El camino más allá en todos los momentos. En la acumulación de laberintos. Suéltalo todo una vez más. Cosmología, filosofía clase. Nuestro adversario es el tiempo.
Keep going. For our dream.
It seems fate favors you, Miss Recoleta. Here are your supplies. Please be sure to follow the distribution rules of the Congress. This is an essential structure of Comala, and a belief shared by all its inmates.
Just as I suspected. These supplies belong to me now, Octavia. I'm free to use them however I please.
Recoleta strides towards Eduardo, who has curled up in a distant corner, clutching his head, and his body trembles in silence.
Here, Eduardo. Take them.
But I haven't fulfilled my destiny yet. These precious tablets and capsules, I can't accept them. They are gifts from fate. The die has placed them in your palm.
But I don't need them. You do.
Thank you, kind senorita.
Prisoner's trembling stops. He blatantly pinches his arm as if trying to distinguish reality from a dream. Then all at once, he snatches the medication from her hands and shoves them into his mouth.
Eduardo, what's wrong? Are you taking the medicine right now? There's no need to rush. There's plenty of it. You can have it all.
Por Dios, Eduardo. How could you squander fate's gifts like this? Kind señorita, please, give me the medication. I need it more than anyone else.
No, I'm the one who needs the most. Give me the medication. I beg of you. With the protection of these amulets, I might finally be able to get a peaceful night's sleep. No more trembling floors and wailing ghosts.
Prisoners shove and struggle, countless hands reaching toward the helpless Ryder trying to snatch the small round of pills of salvation.
Enough! Enough!
Blue glow spreads through the room, forcing the prisoners to clutch their heads and fall down to their knees. The riot comes to an abrupt halt.
You shouldn't have done that, Miss Recoleta. Your ignorant generosity could shatter the very basis of our survival.
Steps toward Eduardo, now writhing in pain, and picks up a few stray capsules scattered at his feet. Those dissolve into a stream of voided sand, vanishing as it pours through her fingers.
We have never had such chaos at the Congress. Understand this. We rely only on the randomness of fate to distribute supplies and assign responsibilities. If you disrupt the status quo, the entire system of the Panopticon will collapse beyond repair. It is only by respecting the arbitrariness of fate and adhering to the rules of the Die of Babylon that we have kept this place functioning all this time.
The Die of Babylon? Tell me, how did you know this name? Are you the one orchestrating this whole thing?
Recoleta, equally confused and furious, grabs the hostess's collar.
¿Podría ser? ¿Eres Aleph? Tal como sospechaba Verdun?
Let go of me, Miss Recoleta. Have you gone mad? The roll of the die is absolutely random. I'm not orchestrating anything. Before the Congress began, I made an oath. I intend to keep it.
Please, calm down, Miss Recoleta. I think she's telling the truth.
She lets go of her grip as the reality of their situation dawns on her.
Sorry, Octavia, but please, you have to tell me how you learned about the Die of Babylon. I must know. Only my pen pal and I should have any knowledge about this die.
I heard about it from the physician. He described it as a symbol of collective consciousness that we could harness to maintain immaculate order in the Panopticon. The Comala Congress was coined, iterated, and perfected by the physician based on this concept.
The physician again. Everything eventually leads back to him, just as we suspected.
I see.
Recoleta casts her eyes over to the silent jaguar, who has remained wordless from beginning to end, watching it all unfold.
Jailer, we have to meet with the physician in person. Now.
As I've told you many times, Dr. Merlin is too busy at the moment. I couldn't possibly trouble him over a novel and a pen pal. They are just fantasies.
Couldn't you make an exception? What if they're not just fantasies? What if they're tied to the very survival of this place? Miss Recoleta said the Panopticon could collapse because of the Die of Babylon.
Are you seriously telling me you believe that nonsense?
It wasn't nonsense, nor are they fantasies. You saw with your own eyes how I won the die roll.
It was just a coincidence.
The jailer's words are at odds with the subtle motions of her eyes and face. The Foundation's investigators seize on a prime opportunity to apply pressure.
What if we present you with stronger evidence to prove it's more than just a coincidence? If everything in the Panopticon proceeds according to Miss Recoleta's novel as she says, she should be able to predict what happens next, including the roll results of the absolutely random die.
That's right. The Die of Babylon isn't random at all. It's nothing but a supercilious fraud veiled under the guise of fate, and an actor of the inescapable loop of history. And not one of you is paying attention to me whatsoever. Ugh, to hell with this era of ignoring unknown writers.
Miss Recoleta, please make your prediction for the next inmate's die roll. This way, you can prove to Miss Jailer the irrefutable connection between Kamala and your novel, The Rise and Fall of Sanity.
You finally remembered its name! Oh, what sweet balm to my spirit!
Miss Octavia, please continue the Congress and let the next inmate perform their role. Then Miss Recoleta's statement will be proven true.
The hostess of the Congress remains non-committal.
I appreciate the reminder. No matter the interruption, the Comala Congress must go on. Though not for Miss Recoleta's sake, of course. Next inmate, please.
Following the die's designated order, the next prisoner steps forward,
Hello,
forward to
Inmate
roll.
Garcia. You know what to do.
Of course.
La sexta cara. Un pilar roto. El flujo de la fortuna y la calamidad.
So the result of the next roll will be a 6.
The prophetic precision plunges the Hall of New Encounters into breathless silence.
As fate reveals, the number is 6.
Just as Miss Recoleta predicted.
That could still be a coincidence.
La 13ª cara. Una cadencia desconcertante, sin un verdadero principio ni fin. La 4ª cara. Un hombre que se ahogaba usó el último de sus fuerzas para nadar a la seguridad. La 17ª cara. Cojeaba hacia el distante oasis, solo para que la débil humedad y la inquietante quietud revelaran cruelmente que era un espejismo. La 6ª cara. Otro pilar roto con grietas idénticas a la última. Confirmó la hipótesis de la investigadora de paracausalidad. Is that enough? I've almost finished the entire chapter.
It's not possible.
One coincidence after another begins to stir into an uproar. The coincidences appear endless.
Who are you?
I'm sorry if this comes as a shock to you, but I did warn you, Octavia. Now it's proven. The Die of Babylon is anything but the so-called randomness of fate.
Have you been sent here by some god? Or are you a hobby prophet? Have you brought this knowledge to save us? Or to shatter our beliefs? Our world?
A question destined never to need an answer. She lets her eyes fall into the cardboard box and onto the 20-sided die. The ridiculousness of its nature becomes starkly visible.
What is this thing in my hand? What are we? What is this prison?
I don't know if it's some kind of sorcery or arcane skill, but it's unfathomable. I'll take you to the physician. Not because of your earlier request, but because the situation has escalated beyond my means. The overseer of the Panopticon will decide how to handle your situation.
To be honest, Miss Recoleta, I wasn't sure you'd be able to correctly predict everything.
Timekeeper, are you saying that you risked everything on a hunch?
It worked, didn't it?
Come with me. Dr. Merlin's office is in the central tower.
For her part, the now vindicated writer follows at the end of the line, letting her mind race like a bullet train.
En la sexta versión de mi novela, todos en el pueblo mueren a causa del dado de Babilonia. Porque solo la muerte puede cerrar el ciclo de la historia. Y carcelero, eres el empleado del banco, ¿verdad? Entonces, al final, también sufrirás un colapso como el empleado del banco, cuando se da cuenta de que él y el pescador de dunas son la misma persona. If all of this is tied to the rise and fall of sanity, then, as its creator, I will get to the bottom of this.
All right. Let's see here. Oh, okay, we have to read this, of course. Give me a minute. I'll be right back. Give me a sec. Okay, I'm back. Okay, we're gonna have to read this one. Let's see. We're gonna have to read this one and then we can like proceed. After that, I attended several more literary salons and wrote things I had never dared write before. Miss Octavia, however, never made an appearance. I didn't see her for quite some time. That was until I followed some prisoners to a large hall and heard her voice among a group of unfamiliar inmates. She noticed me and greeted me warmly. She told me she had been working on some new initiatives. She told me her hopes to gather more support to improve conditions in the prison and initiate a spiritual shift toward realism and resistance. I truly believed back then that everything was heading in the right direction. For all eyes, the host of the assembly, the idealist, steps up to the podium. By randomness of fate, we have gathered here to participate in the Kamala Congress. For the eyes of destiny, historians and astrologers alike, I now declare a new rule amendment. A duel before a crowd of eager eyes, the winner awarded 10 pounds of gold and the loser left with 10 flies to descend upon him. Before the Kamala Congress convenes, we shall assign 2 members of La Sociedad this noble mission, a duel decreed by fate. Yours hears the faint clink of a small object rattling inside a box. Jose, Julio, yes, step forward and draw the sharpest blade of your literary thought. According to the rules, I will preside over this duel with fairness and impartiality. Now prepare yourselves. The absurd, fictional, metaphysical duel ends within a fraction of a second. The victorious prisoner receives 10 shining golden pills, while the loser collapses to the floor. The crowd erupts into chaos, Octavia's cries rising above the noise.
What's going on?
It's Julio, he's having another seizure.
Miss Erd, please, Julio needs your help.
Octavia, you know this is all part of the randomness of fate. Randomness of fate. She doesn't argue back as she usually would. Instead, she stands frozen in place as if stunned. What's the matter, Miss Octavia? This is an emergency. I require your assistance. Answer me, Octavia. Why are you trying to change Julio's fate? Because no one should die like this.
I don't want him to die.
Please, Miss Octavia, help me so I can help him.
Her voice cracks, leaving only the sound of her stifled sobs lingering in the air. What's wrong, Miss Octavia? How's his condition now? Miss Octavia? She remains silent. After a long pause, she casts the heavy stone into the bottomless water. Absurd.
Mr. Julio is gone. He left us the moment the duel was over.
How could that be? Seizures can potentially lead to irreversible brain damage, but how could it happen so fast? A precious life gone so quickly, swept away by something so senseless, lost in a nonsensical duel. What exactly is this so-called Congress? What? Some kind of punitive system unique to Kamala Prison. But how can someone's life be decided by something so absurd? Are we simply meant to surrender to a fate so twisted, no matter how absurd it is? Is it so irrefutable? This isn't the fate I seek, it's a distortion of it. It's my fault for not finding a better way. I used to think Mr. Julio didn't care about anything about his own novels. I never imagined my ideals would mean anything to him. But he was the first person in La Sociedad to support me. But that really was an irreversible fate, a fate granted to Mr. Julio by the Die of Babylon. The Die of Babylon. The question is left unanswered. The host of the salon goes on. Julio has stepped off the endless staircase and reached the silent water. He has become as calm water dissolved into his own pond. Let us offer our blessings, our silence, our farewell to this martyr of fate. And let us imagine that Julio's literary career was a happy one. The hall remains deathly silent, no applause, no response.
A life is taken, and that's all you have to say?
You really don't care whether we live or die, do you, idealist? And all of you, don't any of you have anything to say? Why are you all just standing there? If we hadn't kept rejecting the physician's treatment, maybe Mr. Julio wouldn't have. Rejecting how ridiculous, you have no clue what that demon in human skin is capable of, how he'll reach into your mind and mold it like clay, reshaping it until it becomes your prison. In the realm of fiction, fate, unreality, the dissolution of the ego is inevitable and irreversible. Therefore, we must not resist the ending dealt to us by the Die of Babylon. You even know what you're talking about. I've never truly understood you. Idealist. I will find a better way. I must rewrite this tragic tale. If you disagree, then leave La Sociedad. I will not have our great poem disrupted by an offbeat syllable. Besides, your tedious talk of social responsibility should have been purged long ago. Modern Latin America belongs to visceral realism, and you're too ignorant to even attempt to seek it out.
What a ridiculous, laughable man you are!
Yes, I see it clearly now. It's your tyranny that has driven everyone to ruin. Well, let me tell you something. I'm not leaving. I will establish a new literary movement right here in Comala, right here in La Sociedad de Poetas de las Americas. Now I know we will use our literature to rescue the inmates who suffer all around us.
I've had enough of your condescending stone-hearted ego and your pompous sophistry. He'll only bring misfortune upon us with his constant rambling about that visceral realism.
I hope I never see you again, Miss Erd. We have to get you out of here. Another second around this maniac might just doom us all.
Only the physician, the true overseer of this prison, can save us from this situation. Please join our society, Miss Torres.
Help us build a renewed Sociedad de Poetas together. I've already spoken with the jailer. As long as we follow the rules and help them manage Comala, we'll be free to discuss literature.
Forgive me, Miss Octavia. While I truly appreciate your kind offer, I'm afraid my conversation with the physician must remain private.
Why?
Please answer me this question first. From what you've seen, you say this prison is circular in shape, yes? Yes, it is. Then tell me, at the center of this structure, is there a watchtower? What? Impossible, you guessed exactly, and our destination is somewhere inside that watchtower. How did you know?
I've had such a lovely time here. So much so that I almost forgot what I came for.
Which is precisely why I must put an end to this cruel farce masquerading as fate. You intend to rebel against the watchtower's gaze, just like the idealist. You must understand me, Miss Octavia.
That inescapable gaze, and the permanent theme of fate.
To get closer to these truth I seek, oh, hold on. There we go. To get closer to this truth I seek, I have no choice but to meet the administrator that young lady spoke of.
You've decided to save the people here with your own hands, in your own way, and so have I. There are things I must face alone.
Though she is well used to death, the pain of Julio's passing still lingers in her heart, causing her to say these words that don't quite feel like herself.
I see. Lend me your palm. I'll draw you the way to his office. Good luck to you. And to all of us.
Farewell, Miss Octavia. I truly hope all goes well for you in the days ahead.
As Octavia retreats, slowly fading into the distance, she quietly adds,
And in your journey, finding answers about fate, too.
An otherwise tidy room is covered in fine scratches and small unidentified stains. The smell of disinfectant lingers in the air, mixed with mildew.
Wait here a moment. I'll report the situation and your request to Dr. Merlin. However, since he's always busy, I can't guarantee he'll agree to meet you. But I'll do my best to persuade him.
The Jaguar's figure slinks out through the inner door.
Now's our chance, Sinetto.
Our chance? What do you mean, Timekeeper?
It's unlikely that the jailer will let us search the central tower. even in this situation. We should take the initiative and look for clues while she's away.
I see, Timekeeper. I will do my best.
Aseneto swiftly conducts a thorough unauthorized search.
Thank you for your assistance, Miss Recoleta. Without your precise predictions, we wouldn't be standing here now. I haven't yet grasped the connection between the die, your novel, and what's happening in this place. But, by process of elimination, it's almost certain that your pen pal, Aleph, is right behind this door.
Sometimes I envy your decisiveness, Vertin. I'm sure many people have praised this special talent of yours.
Are you alright? You don't seem as excited as when we first entered Kamala.
Recoleta holds her gaze on the tightly shut door, uncertain whether she hopes it will open now or ever again.
The all-seeing sentinel of the Panopticon, veiled within the central tower. If it truly is Aleph, I don't know how to face such a terrifying and increasingly plausible reality.
Sorry to interrupt, but... Timekeeper, I think you'll want to see these.
Signed Erd. This is a letter from Dr. Dores.
The delicate signature matches the one in the manuscript folder.
Her handwriting, it's as beautiful as I'd imagined. Who is it addressed to? Dear Mr. Aleph.
Aleph? Looks like Dores and Aleph are acquaintances. Or at least, they've had some correspondence. Dear Mr. Aleph, my apologies if this reaches you at an inconvenient time. I am Dores, pen name Erd, an ordinary inmate of the Panopticon of Kamala. I write seeking your guidance, if you wouldn't mind offering it to me.
I heard from the physician, Dr. Merlin,
that
you have the answer to every question. A statement which has been echoed by the Idealist and the other inmates. I have something I wish to ask you. What exactly is your role at the prison? Chief Warden? A secret backer? An observer who dominates the prison? Are you truly the supreme ruler of the Panopticon of Kamala?
The tear opened the next letter, eager to read on.
Dear Erd, I do indeed have answers for every question, including yours. I'm afraid every one of your speculations is off the mark. I am merely an inmate who chose to imprison himself here. And allow me to point out that your identity isn't as ordinary as you claim. Why is it that you, my fellow inmate and guest of Manus Vindictae, are so interested in Kamala?
Dr. Dores, a guest of Manus Vindictae.
A muffled shattering of a glass interrupts her reading.
It came from inside the room. Do you think they're okay?
The jailer and the physician! What happened?
The door defies any attempt at an answer, stealing all the events from view.
I'm not sure, but it could be bad. Come on, let's go in and see if they're all right.
The unlocked door leads to another room, more decrepit and oppressive than the last. A cold operating table lies at the center, surrounded by scattered bottles of medical instruments.
It seems we've stumbled upon the physician's...
The physician's office. I should have known. But... is this an operating room? As if this prison wasn't bizarre enough already.
Inside the narrow operating room, the Jaguar reacts badly to their intrusion.
Didn't I tell you to wait outside? What do you think you're doing barging in like this?
We were just worried about your safety, jailer.
Enough. Get out of...
Quiet. The reptilian complex governs all our fundamental functions. Our heartbeat, breathing, fight or flight responses, and our territory and hierarchy awareness. Our primitive ancestors, like reptiles and birds, followed such instincts to survive. Through millions of years of evolution, we developed the limbic system. This processes emotions and forms memories. It allows us to feel fear, sadness, anger, joy. Our behaviors are given meaning. Now it's the neocortex that makes up more than 2/3 of our total brain volume. Language, perception, logical reasoning, abstract thought. This is what forms the complexity of human nature. We read, create, perceive. We try to understand both the world and ourselves. And all this, these multitudes, happens within the confines of the skull, in the tight folds of the crowded cerebral cortex.
Is he performing surgery?
Such a delicate and elaborate organ. Were it unable to forget, what would come of it? Can this space, no larger than the palm of my hand, truly accommodate dozens of people at once?
Unless the physician sets down the operating scissors and needles, signaling the end of surgery. Yet at the same time, the old machine issues an alarm, signaling that his patient's vital signs are wavering.
What's happened to the patient? It looks like he's dying.
Her anxiety rises as the question goes unanswered. On the screen, the last waveforms disappear, leaving only a constant flat tone.
¿Fracasó la cirugía?
Nonsense. The surgery was a tremendous success. I have erased his debilitating hysteria and restored order to the Panopticon. What are you trying to achieve by barging in here?
The man behind the operating table stares at the uninvited guests expectantly, but does not give them a chance to respond.
Forget it. The next operation requires my attention. Jailer, show them out. Bring me the next patient in 15 minutes.
I'm sorry, Miss Burton. I'm afraid you have to leave now.
Recoleta steps forward, blocking their path. There is a hint of pleading in her voice.
Please, just let us speak with you. It'll only take a moment. I have something very important I need to ask.
The question is not given time to take shape.
Important. Nothing is of greater importance than my experiments in the Panopticon, outsiders. To ensure they continue, the stability of time and schedule is absolutely paramount.
Experiments in the Panopticon? So you really are the controller of the prison, then?
Controller? What an outdated notion. Superficial, really. The Panopticon has no need for such power, regardless of who occupies the central tower, or even if no one's there at all. Every inmate is both the observer and the observed, both wielders and subjects of power. Achieving such a state requires no physical or violent measures. The structure of the Panopticon itself is the mechanism which sustains it. Kamala is simply a manifestation of this model. Once I confirm its feasibility and adaptability, this model can be applied to any functional setting with only minor modifications. So far, it has proven to be far superior to any current system of governance in our world, transcendental even. Curse it. Why am I wasting time explaining this to you? Time is running out.
The investigator keenly senses the key within his words.
Dr. Merlin, you keep mentioning time. What exactly do you mean by that?
Really? You need to ask? Even those oily-headed lunatics know it. The end of this era is imminent, is it not?
Indeed, the word that was so close to being spoken.
You know about the storm?
That's what you call it, is it? A storm that washes everything away? You employees of the St. Pavlov Foundation should know better than I. Soon, this era and everything in it will cease to exist. I must prove the feasibility of the Panopticon model before this place is turned to ruins, or something even more unrecognizable.
A storm that washes everything away? Burton, what on earth are you two talking about?
The conversation extends beyond even the most imaginative creations of the aspiring writer.
No one can predict the era to which we will be reversed. I have seen the eras change time and time again. The transformation of this place, over and over. But no matter which era each of these 9 storms, as you call them, has taken us back to, Cordeismo continues to plague this land. Dependency theorists, martyred revolutionists. I've seen them all. You, young writer, are no different from those intellectuals who were swept away in the rain. There is no romance in this era. Only the repeated cycles of madness and brutality. An endless, meaningless struggle. Only in this forgotten corner can we momentarily escape the plundering of the marauders and the chaos they unleash. Although it won't be long before this place is looted by those oily-headed lunatics. Just as it has countless times before on this land as rich as silver.
He mutters to himself.
But there is still hope. Even in a wasteland, we may still be saved, as long as I uncover the path to transcendentality. I will find the ultimate answer. Ugh, I've already wasted far too much time on you. Leave, now.
The physician turns away, beginning to prepare for the next surgery, organizing his worn-out instruments.
You heard him. Please don't press things any further.
All right, Senora, I get it. Obviously, you don't want to discuss my novel with me anymore. So I won't insist upon it. All the letters we wrote to one another. All those inspiring revisions and suggestions. I guess they meant nothing to you.
Her voice wavers, rejections, closed doors, harsh critiques. This proves more devastating than all of them together.
But there's still something I must tell you. Jailer, could you please allow us a private conversation with the No, with Aleph.
Hearing this, the physician stops.
Leave us, Jailer. I'll spare these outsiders 5 minutes.
Jaguar turns to leave, her face revealing the uncharacteristic sorrow as she lingers on the girls one last time. This time she offers no words. All right. Only the steady beeping of a heart monitor keeps the eerie silence at bay.
Dr. Merlin, or should I say Aleph, I don't know why you're using my novel to manipulate the Panopticon, but you need to know that it won't serve your purpose, whether in fiction or reality. You claim that the inmates are both the observer and the observed, and both wielders and subjects of power. How could you be so blind as to not see the true state of the Panopticon? The inmates haven't achieved any perfect order. No, they've devolved into pitiful caricatures of themselves, performers in some endless pantomime to be watched from the central tower. Even their medication has become a prop to demonstrate the so-called randomness of fate in the theater that is the Panopticon. This farce hasn't made the Panopticon a better place. No, it has warped it into a twisted theater of cruelty, where the sick are denied treatment and left to quietly perish in the dark corners of its halls. And literature has died alongside them. This prison is a monster, born under the gaze of this all-seeing power. Aleph, is this truly the ultimate answer you've been searching for?
The physician suddenly seemed startled, stepping back and accidentally knocking over his tools.
What? Are you suggesting that this is the answer I've reached? That my experiment has been a failure all along, and I've been too blind to see it? No. Impossible. Foucault's theory is flawless.
Having his life's work denied is something he cannot tolerate. The man searches the tabletop with feigned composure, and in doing so, he is unintentionally sweeps all the medical tools onto the floor.
I have removed every obstacle to the running of this prison. It is pure, sacrosanct. I have constantly re-evaluated the system, adjusting my instructions to my subordinates to ensure the most efficient maintenance of the established order. And now, you stand here and tell me that everything I've done has been meaningless from the very beginning? That the power model I have implemented has already been replaced by an alternative? No, outsiders. The perfect order of the Panopticon shall not be disrupted. I will not be swayed by your lies. This facility is superior to all of us. Nothing here escapes my notice.
At last, in a barely noticeable corner, he finds the 20-sided die wreathed in black mist.
That said, it isn't easy to work a miracle, as we all know. I shall personally verify it, all myself.
All of his emotions dissolve as he grips the die. The narrow operating room shakes as if responding to him, emitting a distorted screech.
What's happening?
Visitors from another era. You have come here with plagued ideologies in an attempt to break the subtle balance of the Panopticon. But did you not notice the tiles beneath your feet? The cracks and water stains on the walls, constantly changing right before your eyes. This room, the previous room, every room, you have blindly wandered through them, seeing them as nothing more than the building blocks of a monotonous labyrinth. But this place was not born from the chaotic imaginings of a madman. No. Every inch has been crafted through the meticulous harnessing of order and power. Every wisp of spider silk drifting in the wind. Every speck of rust on the gallery rail. Every detail of the Panopticon has been built by my own hands. With this ever-shifting die, concepts may be transformed into reality, and ideals into substance. I observe the movement of every entity, the passage of every second. The moment you entered this realm, you too became subjects of my experiment.
Alright.
Can I start running?
Admit it. This is all getting out of hand. Impossible! All is under the die's control. What may appear to be chaos is nothing more than a temporary deviation.
I admire your courage.
In todos los momentos, keep up the pace.
To a brighter future for everyone.
Idealismo, vuelos de fantasía, patrones ocultos. El camino a Tlón.
Another jar?
En todos los momentos. En la acumulación de laberintos, suéltalo todo una vez más.
It's special, precise, perfect.
It is far from perfect. You know that as well as I. Why else would we be conducting this experiment?
I remember it's called lending a hand.
This happened when the Idealist was attacked too.
To think we've been trapped in a prison fabricated by a die all this time. Did the physician really build all this with such a small, simple object?
The distortion is getting worse. Prepare yourselves to fight or flee.
The situation begins to spiral out of control. Now everything in the room screeches and twists until they become a mess of meaningless black and white lines.
Please, Dr. Merlin, stop this!
No. You're asking for the impossible. Power model of the Panopticon is destined to permeate all of society. Such
But it already has, Merlin. You failed.
I have not failed. And as long as I keep the prison running.
Physician fiddles with the die, muttering baffling and incoherent words to himself.
It isn't your power model running the prison. It's the die. It's simply a form of magic, unrelated to the microphysics of power you seek. It provides no aid in your experimentation with power. It's a false hope. A castle in the sky given to you by the military junta and Manus Vindictae.
Manus Vindictae? So you really are working with them. What exactly do you intend to do?
Then I've also failed. I've ended up a pathetic fool, lost in the chaos of reality. Just like the idealist chasing visceral realism, Paracelsus seeking the fountain of youth, and Zahir obsessing over the one-sided coin. When did it all start falling apart, Aleph? When the doorknob loosened? When the prisoner's wounds started to fester? Or when the daily disinfectant concentration reached 28 milligrams? Or the crack in the second gray brick on the wall expanded to 6 millimeters? Or was it when Warden Tartuffe left Ushuaia with news of the Foucault Association's dissolution? This place should have been the ideal ground for psychoanalytic practice. Why did they halt all research, all discussion? We've been abandoned, haven't we? By eras old and new. You designed and have maintained everything in Kamala, right down to the smallest detail. But it is these details that trap you. And as the bars close around you, you are losing your name, Merlin. And you're becoming a physician, a man forever imprisoned within these walls. I don't understand. All these false eras are like a dreadful novel with no conclusion. Trying to find answers within such things is, in itself, a mistake. Much like them, you are destined never to attain transcendentality. Tell me, Olive, does the ultimate answer even exist?
The die becomes too heavy for him to hold any longer. It drops to the floor. The distortions and tremors at the prison finally subside, as if the pulse of a massive heart had stopped for an instant. Amid this swirling dust, the girls help each other stand but fail to notice the truth revealing itself before them.
Timekeeper, Are you alright?
Yes. And you? And Miss Recoleta? Are you okay, Miss Recoleta?
The smoke clears, but no one responds. The named girl simply stares in shock at the figure before her.
You're...
The word utopia derives from Greek. It means no place. People cannot understand the structure of the labyrinth, yet they continue to follow its paths. They cannot comprehend the mechanics of fate, yet they believe in its jurisdiction, as if, by doing so, everything will naturally fall into place. And now, the polar night approaches.
Yo, he looks cool, dude.
How good it is to see you, pen pal.
Dude, I hope I get him, dude. I really hope I get him when he releases. Okay, let's see. Mask in the mirror.
Where did the physician go? Wait. Sir? Are you?
No one notices when the unfamiliar prisoner appears. He seems calm and almost ordinary, like an unchanging mirror that has stood here all along, in this room, in this labyrinth, passed unseen by everyone. The answer she now sees plainly makes her step back in panic. But in the end, she says the name out loud. Its sound is heavy, cold, and leaves her at a loss.
Aleph, it's you. My pen pal. You are, in fact, Nkomana. All those letters, all the ideas we shared, they weren't just my imagination or some prank. Vertin, Soneto, it's all just as I told you. They weren't meaningless. They're all real.
Why does she feel no joy?
So, sir, are you Aleph, the ruler of this prison? Are you the one controlling Panopticon with the die? The one hiding Miss Dores's whereabouts?
What curious inquiries. Quite different from the last 2,666 questions I've received. My guests, you may call me Aleph, or by any other name, be it a symbol of God's oneness or a farcical epithet. I am merely one of the many prisoners who voluntarily reside here. A single letter in the alphabet of the Panopticon.
A letter? The way you speak is quite different from Dr. Merlin. Still, I wonder what your relationship is with him.
Under the dim lighting, the man looks drained of all energy.
But allow me to make a guess. You're Dr. Merlin, aren't you?
I'm afraid that's not entirely accurate. But you may think of it that way. Merlin is a figment born of my mind, an incomplete reenactment. He is me, yes, but not entirely. He, or rather they, failed to find their answers. They fought against their predestined fates, only to be inevitably crushed under their weight. I simply stood by and watched it all unfold. That was the extent of our relationship.
They?
You've already met Merlin and the Idealist, even witnessed their demise, shackled by the delusions of verses. The Idealist lost his own name. Merlin, too, imprisoned himself within the system of the Panopticon. I'm sure their desperate pursuits caused you some trouble. Please forgive them. After all, your fleeting encounters led to the demise of them both.
I think I understand now. The Idealist and the Physician are both parts of you. Or, to put it another way, they're your alter egos.
It seems the jailer's diagnosis that the whole prison is mad has been shown to be more accurate than anyone could have imagined.
The physician mentioned Manus Vindictae. What's the relationship between this prison and the Manus?
Visitors from the Foundation. We all witnessed those eras perish. In 1977, not long before the fourth storm, I arrived in Ushuaia. Shortly after, some members of the National Foucault Studies Association reached out to me. But it wasn't just them. An arcanist organization called Manus Vindictae also approached me. Each of them wanted answers. They named me their advisor.
You acted as an advisor to the Manus?
The two parties presented me with a concept and a parable, respectively.
A concept and a parable?
The Foucault Association sought to explore the feasibility of the panopticon concept here, while Manus Vindictae showed me a parable of the past and future. Day and night, I wandered through endless texts, endless realities, as I searched for answers. And thus, Merlin was born. He was both an experiment and a price I paid, a new concept, a new direction. Pursuing such things always leaves me confined by the limitations of human knowledge. Merlin spent his entire life exploring Foucault's theories in pursuit of that singular yet infinite answer.
What about the Manus, Mr. Aleph? You didn't explain why you helped them.
Explain why? Because they asked me to. Just as you have. I simply worked to answer their questions.
So you're saying that, to you, we are no different from Manus Vindictae, and if we ask, you'll answer us, without holding anything back?
Is that not precisely what is happening this very moment?
Aleph picks up the fallen die. It flickers with a familiar, comforting glow.
This is what the Manus gave Merlin. A magical die named the Tear of Kamala. It was once a gemstone that belonged to a god. At the beginning of the century, explorers plucked it from an ancient gate they discovered in Antarctica. To the explorers' amazement, the gemstone could turn human desires into reality. So they cut it into a die, a symbol of fate, and used it to build a sanatorium, which was later transformed into the panopticon you are standing in right now.
His words are direct, yet they still leave the outsiders perplexed.
Then, Aleph, you really are the mastermind behind the panopticon?
The silent girl grips her notebook. Her knuckles turn white from the pressure. The draft of an unpublished novel with words that only she knows, the countless hours spent at her desk, self-reflection, the meticulous questioning, revisions, and scrutiny of every word. That book holds the life of its writer.
You said Merlin used the panopticon to seek his answer. What does that have to do with my novel? I don't get it, Aleph. Why would you use my novel to manipulate this place? Roberta, Garcia, Octavia, Pablo, the jailer, everyone. Not one of them deserved to be trapped in a deadly loop in which everyone's fate is already predestined. They're just like the ghosts in Amalfitano, inescapably trapped within the ruins. Tell me, what is it you really want?
Hearing this, the lonely prisoner fidgets with the die, looking puzzled.
It's not about what I want. It's about what you want. The third line of your first letter. You said you wanted to give the rise and fall of sanity an ending.
Los registros históricos del Dado de Babilonia aún se pueden encontrar en la biblioteca de la Universidad Santa Teresa. No. Una apertura como esta haría la historia demasiado ambigua. En 1975, en el pueblo de Amalfitano, Sonora, México, ocurrió algo terrible y escalofriante en la cabaña con el techo azul. Todo comenzó con las costumbres peculiares de los Espera, ¿cómo supe todo esto? Necesito agregar un ro para el narrador. El cuentacuentos. Un poeta surrealista de México me contó esta historia. Una anciana entró en el bar, al que solía ir en el pueblo. Al mismo tiempo,
el empleado del banco también entró al bar, trayendo la noticia de que una corporación multinacional iba a construir una fábrica de jabón de galletas en Amalfitano.
Espera, ¿empleado del banco? No sabía que había bancos en Amalfitano. Pero sí, tiene sentido. Los bancos comerciales son, sin duda, un sello del capitalismo. Gracias, amigo por correspondencia. Antes de convertirse en empleado del banco, era un defensor de las antiguas costumbres del pueblo. Era un pescador de dunas.
Después de aceptar el destino otorgado por el dado de Babilonia, eligió dejar todo atrás. El triste y aterrador pueblo y los ciclos ocultos dentro de la infinita aleatoriedad.
Oh, qué irónico. Pero también es realista. Ahora solo necesitamos un personaje contrastante. Un creyente en el destino. Una anciana tejedora se sentó en su antiguo taller, girando incansablemente su rueca, un regalo precioso, otorgado por el dado de Babilonia.
La tejedora ciega relató suavemente todo lo que había vivido.
¡Qué idea brillante, Aleph! Una tejedora ciega no podría haber presenciado el asesinato. ¡Fantástico! En este caso, agregaré a un conductor de burros que es asesinado en este capítulo. Con cada una de tus sugerencias, la historia da un paso adelante. Gracias, Aleph. Pero todavía no veo ninguna señal del final. Es como si no importara cuántos personajes nuevos agreguemos. Todavía falta algo en el pueblo desértico. Le falta una figura clave. Aleph, ¿qué debo hacer? ¿Cómo le doy un final a esta historia?
Tú misma me preguntaste, ¿cómo le doy un final a esta historia? Me describiste cómo tus palabras se habían transformado en un rompecabezas desmesurado e infinito, un lenguaje irreconocible, una colección de información ambigua y una parábola que había perdido todo su significado. La esencia de un final aún te roe, atrapándote para siempre en ese abrasador pueblo desértico. Todo lo que estoy haciendo es intentar encontrarlo para ti.
¿Estás diciendo que has estado manipulando los acontecimientos en el panóptico desde que intercambiamos cartas por primera vez septiembre pasado?
She struggles, vainly hoping for him to deny it.
Sí, cada vez que revisabas la novela, se hacían ajustes correspondientes en el panóptico. Reflejar fielmente las complejidades de cada detalle era clave para asegurar que la historia avanzara sin problemas. Estos ajustes los manejaba principalmente Merlin,
A veces el idealista, y antes de ellos, Zahir y Paracelso.
¿Cada vez?
6 versiones de la historia del Amalfitano ya se han desarrollado en el Panóptico.
Eso significa la rana aplastada en el barro, la vaca muriendo de vieja, el fantasma asesinado en el duelo y los cambios repentinos al dado de Babilonia, todas las revisiones que sugeriste, todas las muertes, el caos y la locura. Realmente es...
The ever-knowing prisoner falls into a long, dark silence. He will not answer a question when the one asking already knows the answer.
Incluso la eternidad tiene sus límites, o Recoleta. In the 6th revision, we added the blind weaver, an extraordinary figure. Just like the paracausality researcher who carries a suitcase that you introduced in your 7th letter.
The paracausality researcher carrying a suitcase. Miss Recoleta, is this character really based on the Timekeeper?
What? Of course not. The paracausality researcher is an entirely different character.
Don't you understand? We're only one die roll away from the ending.
Aleph lifts the core of the infinite labyrinth. The tear of Komala swirls slowly in his hand.
I don't... What on earth are you trying to do?
The filament lamps of the operating room dim in time with his motions. Oh, okay, there it goes. Within the mirrors, an endless stream of information appears. A seemingly possessed telephone babbles, an old radio sings, a flickering slide projectors whirs and cracks, a muted film projector spins, a timetable opens, and dictionaries of countless languages flow past. A room without an exit, an eternal predicament, a prisoner's dwelling.
Recoleta, it is the cycle of fate that has brought you to the Panopticon of Komala in Ushuaia. Now, return to the rise and fall of sanity. Return and become a character once more. You've been searching for its ending, but how could you possibly find it when you're no longer inside the story? I believe that this time you will witness the grand finale with your own 2 eyes. No more sadness, no more loneliness. The answer you've long sought lies in the inevitable final row of the die.
So, the jailer is the bank clerk, and Erd is the blind weaver. But what about Roberta, Garcia, and Octavia? They weren't even assigned roles. They were just playthings, helpless in the face of fate. What right do you or I have to decide what happens to them? To dictate their gains and losses?
But they couldn't possibly understand such a thing, could they? To you, it's just a story. But to them, it is the manifestation of bittersweet destiny.
Do you think hiding behind the guise of fiction absolves you from the reality that you've turned the Panopticon into a living hell? Yes. You're the only one who truly understands the rise and fall of sanity. Goodness knows how many manuscripts I sent out that never received a reply. I was so grateful to you. For your replies, for understanding my novel. Those things were more precious to me than any sunrise over the Andes. Had I known that your feedback was created in such a way, and at such a cost, I would have preferred not to receive it at all. Don't you get it? Even if they don't understand my novel, the people I meet are still my friends. Whether we took a long journey together, or we simply chatted for a few hours. We formed an inseparable, miraculous bond. You're a part of me. How could you treat them like fictional characters? It's disrespectful to my work, and to life itself.
The writer's resistance is so sharp that it cuts through Alep's carefully constructed labyrinths easily.
But you raised the question yourself. Why do you resist receiving its answer?
He lowers his head, and for the first time, cracks appear on that indestructible mask.
They're always like this, aren't they? They throw a question at you, only to abandon it along with the fading of the era. This storm will spare no one. You've known it all along, Anna. Only the timeless Panopticon can maintain control. The all-seeing tower. The perfect governing system. What a hopeless fool you are, Merlin. Haven't you heard what they say? There is no need to build a labyrinth when the whole world already is one. Your meaningless questions will be swept away by the tides of time, only to resurface on the shores of our minds once more. We've seen it happen over and over again. Surely you've realized by now that the only true meaning can be found in literature. For over a century, literature has remained the singular, ultimate answer. This lonely cowboy is simply feeling lost at the moment. Spare us your rambles, my dear. You're wasting our time.
Enough.
The dye that reflects the heart can no longer bear its weight as it glows from within burning fissures. On the surrounding mirrors, countless reflections of Aleph appear, each wearing a different face. They crowd into a room as a flood of ghosts.
Aleph seems to be in a terrible state. We have to be careful. Something isn't right about that dye.
Okay. Holy shit, dude. That's pretty cool. The streams, yep.
Go ahead. Keep the story going.
What do you mean?
Carry it through until we finally feel the sweet gratification of the ending. Your endeavors are doomed to fail. There's only madness in literature and art, not transcendentality.
Okay, let's see.
En todos los momentos.
I admire
Más allá del concepto mundano del tiempo, en todos los momentos. Your ending is fate. Keep up the pace. Huh, a truly villainous moment. Do I have to do this? En la acumulación de laberintos, suéltalo todo una vez más.
It's happening.
Oh boy.
It's newly made this year.
El camino a Clon. Más allá del Your ending is fate.
You don't want to miss it.
En la acumulación de laberintos, suéltalo todo una vez más. Nuestro aliado es la verdad.
Round.
Got you. Another jar?
En todos los
As expected. Your ending is fate.
There they are.
Nuestro adversario es el tiempo.
It's happening.
Try it.
Más allá del concepto mundano.
Coming. Another jar?
I will remember your sacrifice.
En todos los
Fate.
Coming. Another jar?
Arquea. Idealismo. Vuelos de fantasía.
Everything
Patrones
has a
ocultos.
cause and effect.
I'll fill the cup for you. Enjoy!
Hey, don't interrupt me.
Ouch! Got you.
We share the same dream.
El camino a Clon.
It's newly made. Another jar?
Your ending is fate.
To a brighter future for everyone. En la acumulación de laberintos, suéltalo todo una vez más.
These explorations, these fractures, they're all failures, aren't they? In this infinite expanse, I feel nothing but infinite sorrow.
There we go. Okay. A chaotic battle comes to an abrupt halt.
Wait! Mr. Olive? Are you human?
Sonetta steps back, lowering her glass fetter. She is shocked to realize that her opponent has no arcane skills at all. From beginning to end, all he had was to die.
Please hand over the die peacefully.
Mr. Aleph, please stop resisting. It's futile.
Futile. Yes, it's all futile. The cage of rules, the ideals of literature, both are futile. mere illusions conjured along the path to transcendentality. They all fear that they're nothing more than phantoms in someone else's dream. That reality will devour everything, including their very existence. That's why they drift further away from transcendentality. They couldn't break free from that false dream. None of them could.
Aleph stumbles as he looks up at the storyteller.
Both the physician and the idealist walked toward their own destruction, just as I expected. But your novel still has hope, Recoleta. Its ending hasn't been written yet. We cannot deny that it may be the answer to achieving transcendentality.
You're not going to stop, are you? Not until you get your answer. Sinetto, we have no choice but to seize the die from him by force.
Sinetto's arcane energy gathers at the tip of the glass fetter. At this moment, the silent storyteller takes a step forward.
Enough. I said enough!
She shakes as she reveals the notebook that has never left her side. Let's see. 16. In 1990, Guadalajara International Book Fair. People move between bookshelves and corridors, engaged in heated conversations. The air is filled with the mingling of multiple languages.
I'm afraid we can't publish your novel in its current state, Recoleta. We look forward to seeing more refined work from you in the future. Ah, Senor Cruz! What a pleasure to see you here. I'm an editor from the Naranja Dulce publishing house. Could you spare a moment to discuss the copyright for The Bluebird? We're huge fans of your children's literature.
The editor leaves, hurrying after another writer, leaving Recoleta standing alone and places the 17th publisher to reject her today.
Hey, relax, Recoleta. Look at all the books around you. This place is heaven. You can't get down on yourself, not here. There's so many writers and publishers here. It's only natural you'd be turned down 17 times. This is just the beginning.
The young writer, attempting to forget her 17th rejection, flips through the event guide in her hands.
Now, which section should I visit next? Oh, this brochure might help.
She turns to the last page of the thick handbook, where all the invited authors and their contact details are listed.
Estupendo. An exchange of ideas between writers. Nothing could be more incredible than that. I recall James Joyce was inspired by a letter he received from Henrik Ibsen. So, maybe what I need is to find someone to share my manuscript with. But who? Tadeo Emasums. Aleph. Averroes.
Knock at the door interrupts her daydream.
Oh, it's you, senor. Don't worry. I promise I'll catch up on the rent next month. Although I must say, this apartment's hardly worth the price. The cracks on the walls must date back to the last century.
Make all the excuses you want, Ingrid. If you don't pay the rent soon, you'll either end up in that crumbling colonial building on the corner or on the street, selling oranges at the San Telmo market. By the way, Julia told me you lost your job at the textile factory. You under some kind of can't work in one place for more than 3 months, curse or something, senorita.
Oh, you don't even want to know about the terrible things that happened in that factory. All I did was lend the oppressed workers a hand.
Bah, you're just like those college kids, full of hot air. Anyway, I am not here about the rent. Didn't you tell me to watch out for your letters a while back, when you just returned from abroad? Well, here it is, a letter for you.
The girl freezes for a moment, then snatches the letters and slams the door shut, almost buzzing with excitement as she unfolds it.
Dios mío! Someone actually wrote back to me! This is incredible! Oh, thank you so much for bringing it to me, senor.
She slits open the long traveling letter.
Dear Miss Recoleta, it's from, let's see, Aleph. Hey, I've been watching you. You're not local, are you? What are you writing? Oh, hola. You're right. I just arrived in Buenos Aires 3 days ago. My trip's been a lot like a Copes Tango performance, full of twists and turns, but nothing much worth telling, really. I'm actually writing a reply to my pen pal. Long story short, I sent him a manuscript of my novel, and to my surprise, he actually wrote back. Amazing, isn't it? In our recent letters, we've been discussing how my novel lacks a key character to drive the story toward a decisive ending. So we've been debating whether to introduce a new ghost to act as a turning point for the story. Oh, so then you're a writer? Hey, Pancho, come over here. I found an actual real-life writer.
What's the big deal? I wrote plenty of poems in middle school.
Oh, so you're a poet. I have a feeling we're about to embark on an incredible adventure together. Are you interested in joining the visceral realism movement? What? I've never heard of it, but it sounds like fun. Fabuloso. We have no time to waste. Once I finish this letter, you two must join me on a journey to Ushuaia.
Ushuaia? The end of the world? Why the heck would we go to that icebox?
Oh, don't be such a downer, Pancho. Just think of the fun we'll have, the breathtaking scenery we'll see, and the incredible stories we'll hear.
Fine, Maria. I'll deal with the cold if you really want to go so badly.
By the way, could you tell us about your novel? Of course. I'll tell you all about it on the way. Now where to begin? Alright, let's start with the cottage with the blue roof and Amalfitano. It's been 6 months since we first exchanged letters. Since then, I've been traveling. First from Chile to Mexico, then from Mexico to Argentina. And I've never stopped writing. I'm not really sure what the purpose of my novel is. I just keep writing and writing. I can't stop. What power does literature hold? What responsibilities? Perhaps only by continuing to write will I understand one day.
Recoleta flips through her notebook, every turn of the page containing a different colored letter. After their long journey, these pages of letters form a faded riddle, their handwriting long since blurred.
Aleph, you're right. I do want an ending to my novel. But not like this.
You really have no idea, do you, Recoleta?
Her only reader realizes she has still not grasped what is happening, forcing him to reveal a truth that he has long concealed.
The rise and fall of sanity is your story.
What do you mean?
You are a ghost, wandering this forsaken land, still striving to create a miracle. You are a wandering poet, born in Amalfitano, the foolishly brave protagonist of the story, and the embodiment of the author herself. A reflection, yes. The author, no. You are simply a figment of her imagination, a manifestation of her dream to wander. Have you not realized it? The literary pursuits and romantic adventures you described, they are merely faded memories from 1975. The poets who joined the visceral realism movement with you left Latin America long ago.
Faded memories.
As for the novel, it's yours now. A story you're writing. A story about yourself. Your departure has turned Amalfitano into a ghost town. The characters have lost their connection to you. They're gradually fading away. If the novel is destroyed, you too will cease to exist.
Wait. This is... Miss Recoleta? Is what he said true? I know you never lie, pen pal. In your first letter, you told me that a character's role in Fate must be determined from the outset and consistently adhered to throughout the story. Reading the perspective and insights of a walking encyclopedia, having such a person be willing to share their thoughts at all was an exhilarating experience. I had never imagined my novel could develop in this way. Words could hardly describe how I felt in that moment. No one but you has ever understood the story of that town, let alone offered any revisions. Following your advice, I added the bank clerk, the dune piscator, the blind weaver, and the murdered donkey driver. Amalfitano was no longer an empty town with a single blue-roofed cottage. The new ghostly residents had begun to fill the skies over it. The story was finally reaching completion. I could feel that the ending was within reach. I became increasingly eager to meet my pen pal. I couldn't get the thought out of my mind. I wasn't sure what I would say to this Aleph. A simple thank you, perhaps, or maybe a discussion about the future of Amalfitano with its sole reader. Or maybe I'm no different from everyone else. Led up the garden path by fate. But even if I am a ghost, as you say, an incarnation of someone else, a fictional being, so what? My resolve will not waver, even if my existence is bound to fade away. Because this isn't what literature is supposed to be. You once told me there isn't an ounce of reality in fiction, only voids and glorified lies. Let me tell you this. Whether real or fictional, corporeal or intangible, I have accepted my existence. Now, let's put a stop to this, Aleph. The inmates aren't characters in my novel. They're people trapped in a prison, just as you are. By simulating my story here, you have made me into some kind of god. A guilty, false creator. A dictator of fate. I never wanted any of this.
All right. Let's see.
I have all the essentials for writing poetry. You, me, and our opponent.
¡Lo veo! ¡La frecuencia perfecta! Creo que lo he encontrado. La fuente del dado de Babilonia.
Las deudas de los muertos. Esas facturas. Todas han sido hechas trizas. ¡Ya no estoy atrapado!
Desde el día en que perdí la vista, nunca imaginé que la rueda giratoria...
Just another shift. Más allá del what I'm good at.
I admire your courage.
In todos los momentos. Huh, a truly villainous moment. These sheets are my wings!
Heart scared.
Higher than a bell tower, and deep in the clouds!
Nuestro aliado es la verdad. El camino a Tlo, más allá del concepto mundano del tiempo.
I will remember your...
A new hypothesis. A good point.
En la acumulación de laberintos, suéltalo todo una vez más. Nuestro adversario es el tiempo.
We worked on this collaboration together.
Shattered words and ghostly illusions roar forth, breaking free from the story's structure and the gaps between its lines, filled with regret and obsessions. Torn letters and books and book pages flutter in the air like snow in a crystal globe on a winter night. Everything is quiet.
Huh? Miss Recoleta has vanished. Did she really cease to exist like Aleph said?
Recoleta.
On an unknown night, the wind carries the cold desolate. In the cottage of the blue roof, the girl dreams of a circular prison. Then she wakes.
Qué sueño más extraño. El sabor de la realidad, tan amargo y triste. Pero lleno de pensamiento dialéctico. Tal vez la gente del panóptico reflejaba mis pensamientos internos.
She looks around, surveying the cobwebbed corners where stacks of manuscripts are piled up to the ceiling, and over empty ink bottles collecting dust.
Entonces realmente soy un personaje en la novela. La misteriosa cabaña con el techo azul fue mi hogar todo el tiempo. Entonces, los rumores que los fantasmas propagaron eran realmente eso. Rumores.
A young writer steps out of her home and into the streets of the familiar yet foreign desert town. Countless nameless characters and ghosts arrive upon hearing the news filling the roads and skies.
Bienvenida de nuevo a Amalfitano, querida escritora.
Gracias, querido ícono del capitalismo. Pero, ¿no desgarré esta novela en pedazos?
Verás, Amalfitano es una dimensión más allá de la vida y la muerte. Este pueblo es un reflejo de tus pensamientos internos. Es incorpóreo. No puedes desgarrar algo incorpóreo en pedazos. La literatura es infinita y atemporal, como un río que fluye a través de la vida y la muerte.
No me extraña que seas mi personaje favorito. Nunca dejas de iluminarme.
Desafortunadamente, la literatura es una vocación peligrosa e inútil. Nadie entiende realmente, ni siquiera recuerda tu trabajo. ¿Recuerdas el dicho? Los únicos verdaderamente muertos son aquellos que han sido olvidados. Recoleta, desaparecerás para siempre si dejas a Amalfitano otra vez. Será como si nunca hubieras existido.
Siempre he admirado tu pensamiento crítico, señor. Encaja perfectamente con tu rol.
Rough hands grasp the writer's palm, feeling the lines etched into her skin.
Todo estará bien, Recoleta. Lo que sea que haya pasado, ahora has regresado. Eso es lo que importa. El dado de Babilonia rodará de nuevo, y cada uno de nosotros obtendrá nuestros finales.
The crowd erupts in cheers.
Así es. Resuelve el asesinato en el bar y pon mi alma en paz.
Libera al pueblo de la locura infligida por el antiguo espíritu.
Arregla la aleatoriedad del dado de Babilonia y aplana la frecuencia catastrófica.
Young writer takes a step forward. Everyone, the living and the ghosts, watches expectantly.
Entonces, el final que he estado buscando es el que el otro yo no pudo darme. El yo que se lanzó de cabeza a la lucha contra un poder invencible. El yo que finalmente dejó esta tierra. Después de todo este tiempo, finalmente he encontrado mi final.
She grasps the gleaming die of Babylon.
Solo un lanzamiento más y todo habrá terminado. Mi historia, mi pueblo, todo finalmente llegará a su fin. Pero el sueño sobre el panóptico también terminará, ¿verdad?
He stops.
Oh, cariño, es solo un sueño.
No me digas que estás abandonando tu búsqueda de toda la vida por un miserable sueño.
Este sueño es cruel. Nadie entiende esta gran novela ahí ni este pueblo asombroso. Pero aquí, eres una verdadera escritora. Este es tu hogar, Recoleta.
Pero ya extraño a mis amigos en ese sueño. Existe, así como este lugar existe.
Pero nosotros también somos tus amigos, Recoleta.
Podrías desaparecer si dejas a Malfitano. ¿Estás segura de que quieres irte?
The young writer puts down the die in her hand. The die that signifies the end of everything vanishes into the sandy wind.
¿Sabéis cómo soy, queridos amigos? He pasado mi vida emprendiendo aventuras tontas y no recompensadas. Así soy yo, ¿verdad? Amalfitano es, en efecto, un lugar ideal. Un lugar para vagar, para un viaje corto y para perderse un rato. Y tiene ustedes, mis amigos ficticios, a quienes quiero tanto. Pero debo regresar a mi sueño y ver a mis amigos ahí. Ellos son igual de importantes para mí.
As they hear her words, the ghosts of the town smile with relief.
Sí, tienes razón, Recoleta. No se puede negar que eres un alma noble y apasionada. Cada uno de nosotros lo sabe.
También eres nuestra querida amiga. ¿Por qué te detendremos de hacer lo que realmente deseas?
Everyone makes way for her as a path into the boundless void unfolds.
Deseamos lo mejor, Recoleta. Buenas noches, querida. Que tu sueño sea dulce esta vez.
Gracias a todos, mis amigos. Nunca los olvidaré.
The girl wipes, yep, there it goes. As all is silent as she enters barren land, there's only a faint sound of footsteps echoing against the vast and empty darkness.
I've read your work, Señorita Recoleta. To be frank, it lacks both depth and breadth. This town of yours is still far from reflecting the complexity of society, and the narrative lacks a discerning perspective. It still needs some work if you want it to truly resonate with our audience. Just go for it, Señorita. You're at a perfect age to explore, experience, and learn.
Time wheels and at last the girl feels her existence again within the void. She reclaims her voice.
What's happening to me?
1,000 or perhaps countless faces emerge before her again.
Ah, of course. The rise and fall of sanity is my story. So, even though the novel's been destroyed, the story, and myself along with it, lives on in the minds of those who read it. Thank you for your feedback, editor. Even here in this great expanse of darkness, I can still hear your words. You have my gratitude. Thank you for reading my novel, even if you didn't understand it, and likely never will.
She navigates a labyrinth of words in an endless expanse of the mirrored waters, the darkness surging toward her like a rush of waves on a dark night, marking her presence feel heavier.
Honestly, I find your story totally fascinating, but I'm still struggling to understand the connections between all these nameless characters. Couldn't you make it clearer? Like a movie?
Typical. Trust a writer to try to be all obscure and mysterious.
Maria, Pancho, you guys are the best traveling pals I've ever had. Our paths may diverge in the future, but the joyful memories of our journey across grasslands, snowfields, and deserts together will remain forever. It's been great coming along with you.
You're totally one of a kind. We'll be waiting for you at my aunt's vineyard. A little sun after a hard day's work will do you good.
The passionate companions wave to her, never looking back as they continue forward. The girl's steps are no longer weightless. With every step she takes, they feel heavier and more real. She lingers inside the infinite mask in the mirror, the boundless universe filling her with both confusion and illusion.
There is ambition in her writing. It's passionate and poetic, fractured and chaotic. But when viewed as a whole, her work feels like little more than a superficial illusion. It lacks the depth to truly touch the soul. I will refrain from offering further comments until she stops romanticizing her childish adventures. To put it bluntly, her phraseology feels overly deliberate to the point of distortion. Her verbiage is like a collection of vague sentiment bubbles.
I see, Aleph. Then this is how you really feel about my novel?
1,000 readers will interpret a story 1,000 different ways. Some believe the text itself is dead, and it is the reader who gives it life. The truth cannot be fully conveyed through words alone. That said, I think The Rise and Fall of Sanity is a good story.
Her heart skips a beat. Within the paradise that harbors the boundless histories and mysteries of humanity, she finally
So the Eternal Paradise is a library of sorts, just like I always imagined. Or is this just another reflection of my inner thoughts? I like it here. It's nice being surrounded by literature. But it's time to go back to reality. You're right about literature, Dorside Beggar. It is a dangerous and futile calling, but I still believe in it.
The investigators from the Foundation breathe a sigh of relief together. Recoletta's reappearance is as sudden as her disappearance, and Neto hasn't even had time to wipe the tears from the corners of her eyes.
Recoletta, you're back!
I'm so glad to see you're safe. And I'm so glad to see you two worried sick about me. Thanks, mis mejores amigas son Neto y Burton.
The reborn writer turns to the prisoner sitting dejected nearby.
See, Aleph? I still exist.
Amalfitano is gone. It's all over. You're simply a wandering ghost now, never to return home again. You may still exist, but Amalfitano will never get its ending. You have nullified its existence, rendering all of this meaningless. I'm sorry I couldn't answer your question. I've failed once again.
His die falls to the ground, once used to construct a beautiful dream. Now whatever magic it held has dissipated.
Amalfitano and the Panopticon were two parts of a whole. With Amalfitano gone, Komala no longer has any reason to exist.
I'm sorry, Aleph. You, who know all the mysteries of the world, who seek answers to every question, have lost yourself in the process. You can answer everyone else's questions, but never your own. Who's the person behind that mask? Is he real? Does he still exist?
Who am I?
The weighty ending to the story leaves the prisoner still trapped in a blurred illusion, exhausted. Mala prison groans like an aging water wheel struggling under its own weight, distorting, fading, and collapsing into the currents of his mind.
Stay vigilant, everyone. This is just like when the idealist and the physician had their meltdown. Only this time, it seems even worse.
I think Aleph is trying to tear down the Panopticon.
Beyond the crumbling walls, a shivering figure is faintly visible. He grips a gun tightly, the black barrel shaking in his hands is aimed at the people in the room.
Freeze! Stay where you are. All of you.
Take a deep breath, soldier. The smoke's cleared now. This story, this battle, will soon come to an end. A writer has departed from her domain, leaving her creation scattered behind her, like blood-soaked bandages and fragmented skulls in the trenches. What a garbled mess.
I don't understand it all yet.
Glad we're on the same page. Thank heavens my commander wasn't some kind of literature. Else I'd have been blown to bits before I could decipher their poetic orders.
You developed a sense of humor.
Well, it's all thanks to a certain writer, the embodiment of the wandering poet and traveler from Santiago to Buenos Aires. She impressed me with her precious experience as a cafe dishwasher and campground caretaker. What really rekindled my sense of humor was her seriousness about her literary pursuits. You'd understand what I mean if you'd ever heard a cheesy joke at a comrade's graveside. Drawing strength from her wanderings and rebellious exploits, she attempted to change society, wielding the sword of literature as a revolutionary intellectual and a leader of thought. Some would hail her as a battle angel of Latin America, with words as piercing as bullets and poems as powerful as tactical bombers.
I believe in power literature.
You stand firm in your beliefs, huh? Well, maybe that's a good thing. A commander has to trust their soldiers, or they'll be forced to surrender before long. Here. Come closer. Let me tell you a secret. Many, if not all, people foolishly think it's the executioner who drops the guillotine blade, the powder that fires the bullet. While they're half right, they're substantially inaccurate. Craters on the battlefield aren't the result of bombs, but a clashing of ideologies. A trigger pulled long before the powder ever ignited in the barrel. As for literature, well, it's probably best not to buy too much into the Latin American boom. Forget about the status report from earlier. That said, at least there's one thing that's certain. Books can bite back, and they'll leave scars.
Prisoner steps out from behind a wall, a weapon held in his shaking hand.
I was just setting up my exhibit when everything started shaking. Then I realized it wasn't just my imagination. So I followed the cracks in the wall and found my way here. I didn't mean to eavesdrop, but something's happening to the panopticon, isn't it?
His panicked hands shift the gun towards Aleph, who has collapsed on his side.
Are you the physician? Or is it Aleph? Whoever you are, please restore the panopticon to the way it was. I'm begging you. You can do that, right?
The mind that once created infinity now watches as it folds back into nothing before him.
Why aren't you doing anything, damn it? Why is this happening? Oh, the die. If you won't help me, then I'll do it myself.
The prisoner, in desperation, lunges forward.
Calm down, Garcia. For writing poetry. You, me, and our opponent. En todos los momentos. Más allá del concepto mundano del tiempo. En todos los momentos. Idealismo. Vuelos de fantasía. Nuestro aliado es la verdad. En la acumulación de laberintos. Suéltalo todo una vez más. Nuestro adversario es el tiempo. Más allá del concepto mundano del tiempo.
A good point.
El camino a Tlón. Nuestro aliado es la verdad.
Oh, there we go. That was easy.
We worked on this collaboration together. I'll write you into my paper.
Timekeeper, he's...
Garcia, weakened by his long confinement, is easily knocked to the ground, unable to withstand with even the slightest touch of arcane skill.
Why is this happening to me? I was so close to completing the exhibition.
Can't you see, Garcia? There's no one controlling this place now. You're free. It isn't the die that's trapped you. Nor is it the walls of this prison. It's the rules, and that overpowering gaze from the central tower. But now that's all gone. You can go outside. You can set up your exhibit anywhere you want. No need to stay stuck in this.
Now looking back on all that he has lost, the artist cuts her off.
No, Señorita Recoleta. You've seen the world out there. You know as well as I that there's nowhere else I can go but here. This is the only place in the world where I can hold my exhibit. And you've ruined it. You've ruined everything.
This room's about to collapse. We've got to leave. Mr. Garcia, do you need a hand?
I can take care of myself, thank you. I'll go a different way. I have to go back and finish setting up my exhibit.
He drags himself forward with trudging steps, retracing his path to leave.
Burton, what about Aleph? We can't just leave him here.
Of course not. We still have questions he needs to answer. Sinetto, help me get him up. Let's get out of here.
Yes, Timekeeper.
The dejected prisoner looks at Sonetta with confusion.
Your words are always at odds with your thoughts. You carry an ocean of questions, yet never reveal even a single drop of them. Why have you never shared your doubts? Why do you stay silent in the face of everything and everyone around you?
Give me a few minutes, be right back. Okay, where were we?
I believe in my duty.
Prisoner shifts his gaze to the other Foundation investigator.
As for you, paracausality researcher, you're different from any other seeker of answers. Even on a desperate, near-hopeless journey, your heart holds little doubt.
Perhaps not every question needs an answer, Mr. Aleph.
Is that so?
Prisoner, so used to answering others' questions, seems to have run into one of his own, but unfortunately no one is here to answer it.
Look.
Oh, whoops. Sorry, I actually skipped over.
One that was exiled to a desolate corner of the ocean by the resplendent civilized world. It's both a prison and a sanitarium. Are any of your friends aboard? If so, you might find the following report a little offensive. Dregs of society. Human scum. These are the terms used to describe its eccentric passengers. To be fair, they do lack discipline and independence. But that may well be a response to the heavy pain they've endured. Some theorists suggest that they're innocent victims, trapped in the confines between rationality and irrationality, defined and redefined by historians as they please. But let's ditch the theories and simplify things. The moment the shackle called madness was fastened around their necks, whether they were truly mentally ill or not, their lives were forever scarred. And now, the mad passengers are storming the shore.
A favorable outcome?
I suppose it is. You can see the joy in their faces, even in the footprints they leave behind as they hop across the beach. Yes, freedom is favorable indeed. The freedom to squander our lives, to trample on the dignity of others, the freedom to embrace absurdity and meaninglessness. Let's dig deeper. Scavenge through the messy battlefield for dog tags. Were these people born mad? After watching the inhabitants of this earth tear each other apart in one war after another, I've concluded this. Only knowledge drives people to madness. Ignorance does not. Madness is a side effect of the sedative that is knowledge. As long as those on land continue to consume it, this ship will never be short on recruits. This is a war between madness and civilization. Both sides have leveled accusations, spilled blood, and pummeled each other. And soon, everyone will have leapt into the trenches and been beaten to a bloody pulp. Only a few can escape this fate.
Like who?
Check your 6. The one leaning against the sunken ship, showing no signs of struggle or sorrow. Garcia. The seawater has flooded his windpipe and reddened his eyes. Yet there he is, staring blankly at the shore. He's in his home base. He holds no hope for forgiveness from his enemies. Not in the slightest. He's a one-man army, fighting only for himself, alone. Now,
Do a 360 and look again. He's been utterly defeated.
Dear Erd, why are you so interested in the Panopticon of Kamala? Dear Mr. Aleph, whether as a doctor or a writer, I simply cannot turn a blind eye to the friction around me.
Especially the discord and injustice I've witnessed here in Kamala. So, I would ask of you a question. Is there any way to resolve the endless conflicts in this place?
To put an end to this, a true ending is required. Your arrival has made it possible for this simulation to have an ending, or rather, a victory.
What do you mean by victory? I'd appreciate it if you could clarify in simple terms. If this victory comes at the cost of any inmate's life, I'm afraid I cannot accept it. I also have another question for you. If I leave, will the stories and conflicts here come to an end?
Miss Grace of Manus Vindicte will grant you passage. But in any case, the cycle of history will continue to repeat itself in this prison, and in the entire world. The sins of humankind will not cease until veins turn to wires, flesh and bone to geometric shapes, and the world around us twists in the colors of an oil painting.
I must say, your words have left me rather baffled. Fragments of the events you describe often appear in my dreams. Could it be that these things really happened? If that's the case, why can't I recall the details? Why am I left with only disconnected pieces? The madness in Kamala, these bizarre dreams. I must put an end to them. What have I forgotten? Has someone or something altered my memory? I can't shake the feeling that something crucial to me has been lost in the river of time. Some kind of duty, perhaps. What should I do? How can I recapture what I have lost?
I won't answer a question that already has an answer, one given to you by the person who escorted you here and made you a promise. You're so close to the place where the truth lies. Think carefully. Why are you here?
These letters we found have answered a great deal. But there's still something that isn't clear. Mr. Aleph, what exactly did the Manus promise Dr. Deraison?
An era. A chance for her to remember her duty.
An era? You helped her leave the Panopticon in the end. Where did she go?
Momentarily aroused from his dream, the prisoner looks blankly for a moment before his gaze drifts back toward the distant illusion.
Southward. There, on the No Man's continent, Manus Vindictae is preparing to recreate the parable of the past and future. A glorious past and a glimmering future belonging to Arcanus. Dr. Dores is deeply connected to this particular parable.
What exactly are the Manus planning to do in Antarctica? And why would Dr. Dores go there voluntarily?
Information revealed stirs unease in the hearts of the investigators from the Foundation.
Mr. Aleph, when did Dr. Dores depart?
It was a day when both the clouds and sun were visible.
A day when both the clouds and sun were visible. Could you be more specific?
Pacific? You mean the time of day?
His mind long ago lost any sense of time, a necessary exchange to make room for an infinite cosmos of words. He once again finds himself without an answer.
When both clouds and the sun were visible. Hey, Vertin, I think it was 3 days ago. Then Dr. Doris wasn't going to Comala on the day I met her. She was leaving. She was headed to Antarctica. It was cloudy that afternoon, with a brief spell of sunshine, just like Aleph described.
Then it hasn't been long since she left. Excellent news.
3 days. If we set off immediately, we might still catch up to her. But, based on the intel we gathered in Ushuaia, Manus Vindictae bombed the entire port 3 days ago. Clearly, they wanted to prevent any interference from the Foundation. It's unlikely we'll find any functioning ships there. I'll report the situation to the Buenos Aires branch. Timekeeper, I'm afraid we'll have to find another way to get there.
I have a boat.
Small boat gifted by Manus Vindictae. During the past several storms, he has taken this boat traveling to Antarctica at Manus Vindictae's invitation to evade the reversion.
Could you lend it to us? The situation's urgent, Mr. Aleph.
Beneath a decrepit lighthouse, a battered little boat bobs in sync with the waves. It is small and fragile, not the kind that seems capable of braving an icy sea.
This boat will automatically take you to McMurdo Port, the landing point Manus Vindictae established by the shores of the Ross Sea.
Sonetto eyes the boat with skepticism, rightfully distrusting this advisor of Manus Vindictae.
This looks like Manus technology. Its arcane energy source is highly unstable. Timekeeper, I suggest we wait for support in Ushuaia.
I don't usually agree with Sonetto, but I have to admit, I don't have much confidence that a boat this small can actually make it to Antarctica.
Mr. Aleph, do you know anything about Manus Vindictae's ritual? How far has it progressed?
The ritual could begin at any moment. I believe that's why they left Kamala. Upon departure, one of their members, a woman named Grace, told me they would seal off the sea.
Are we too late?
If you wish to find Doris, you must follow the same path she took.
The distant drone of the raging waves fills the background like a repeating omen.
I see. Mr. Aleph, members of the Foundation branch will arrive soon to evaluate your condition. I hope you'll answer their questions with the same patience you showed us. Thank you. Sonetto, let's go.
Yes, Timekeeper.
As always, Sonetto keeps any mission-irrelevant queries to herself. The girls preparing to set sail turn to the young writer beside them.
Thank you for your assistance too, Recoleta. Perhaps you'll consider joining the...
A thunderous crash echoes from behind them, the sound of a collapsing building.
What was that? It came from the Panopticon.
flames reflect in their eyes, just like the name of this island might suggest. A winter night stands sentinel over a great conflagration of as every brick of Kamala prison crumbles and falls.
With Alep's control gone, Kamala is collapsing. The inmates aren't even real criminals, are they? And they're still in there with no clue that they're no longer being watched from the central tower. We have to go tell them. We have to get them to safety.
Yes, we should help them get out. At least until support arrives. But the Manus ritual.
Battered boat sways within their sight.
Don't worry. I'll go alone. Huh? You should hurry. When this is all over, I'll write to you, my dear friend. During this journey together, our teamwork has been impeccable. So, you can trust me to do this. I'm not doing it just to help you or the organization you represent. I'm doing it because the inmates are my friends.
Okay, I trust you. Take care of yourself, Recoleta.
But if the storm truly is imminent, as Dr. Merlin said, then, Miss Recoleta, you'll...
Asaneto, more familiar with than anyone with the Foundation's exhaustive regulations, has no ready answer. She knows that in this era before those Arcanists who remain ignorant of the truth, she must watch her words.
I don't quite understand what this storm is all about. But don't worry. A brand new adventure is the best thing that can happen to a writer. And I doubt it'll surpass the epic adventures we've shared over the past couple of days. I'm going to write everything, including the two of you, into my new novel.
Then I'd like to be the first to read this new novel, if that's all right.
Of course. Listen, I believe literature is like an endless, timeless river. So we'll meet again someday, somewhere. Probably in someone else's story. Who knows?
As she takes one last look at her new friends, feeling a longing as if they had known each other for decades. Then, without a backward glance, the girl sprints back to the burning ruins of the prison.
Mis queridos amigos.
All the visitors depart one after another. Amid the distant echo of singing, the creator of this prison stares into the fire as it burns. The moment holds for a time until a breathless jaguar appears at the dock's edge, staring at the human before her with uncertainty.
Dr. Merlin, you're Dr. Merlin, right? I finally found you. What on earth happened in the central tower? Right after I left, the whole panopticon started collapsing. The tower's in ruin. I've been looking for you everywhere. Please, sir, come with me. It isn't safe.
That won't be necessary. The snow is still falling, yet everything in the labyrinth has already gone up in flames. Fortune, fate, karma. They're nothing but a ridiculous joke. It's over, Jaguar. You have lost your memories, your identity, your name, and now your title. You are no longer a jailer trapped in the Panopticon.
I don't get it, Dr. Merlin. What are you talking about?
Jailer takes a step back, her predator instincts sensing the danger in the words to come. Damage may not be physical, but it threatens to shatter what little faith she has left to hold on to and the life she has always known.
I'm going back to Kamala. Order must be maintained. The prisoners mustn't be allowed to escape. Please take care, Dr. Merlin.
Nervous torn between panic and hesitation, the jailer at last turns toward the searing flames.
Hey, you! Don't run off like that. It's dangerous.
No one heeds her cries. One prisoner after another flees in terror, escaping the crumbling labyrinth.
Deserts! It's stars!
We dream on death's straw pillow.
Jailer drifts through the raging scene, unable to steer a sensible course. At last, she pins down a frail and powerless prisoner beneath her weight.
Stop! Get off me! Let me go! Are you blind? The Panopticon is falling apart!
It's you, Roberta.
The jailer recognizes the prisoner under her grip. Roberta, a kind and quiet prisoner, always well behaved, now panicked and desperate to escape.
They are all mad! I knew it! They've been insane from the start! The whole place is burning to the ground and they still won't leave! They're still talking and talking about things that no one cares about! I can't help them! I never understood what they were talking about! The rhythms, the factions, the ideologies. Yes, the people were nice. The idealists too, but I've had enough of this visit. I've had enough of the Panopticon.
She collapses onto the ground, sobbing.
I never should have joined this movement. It was all meaningless from the beginning. I want to leave this place. Go to Spain or France. Anywhere but here. I want to go back to Italy.
Jaguar releases her grip without a backward glance. Roberto leaves. Jailer steps back into this circular structure she knows as her only home.
Por la felicidad yo te canto y por la libertad yo te canto. Nada podrá parar ni vencer mi ser.
Under a night sky, she sees Kamala prison glowing like a brilliant bonfire.
But how does literature make you feel?
As though I'm a kid looking through a kaleidoscope for the first time. Well, maybe that's not the best way to put it. Perhaps something a little more subtle.
The young writer drowns in the vortex of words as the blind woman walks away. She walks away silently toward Kamala prison, arriving at the dock hidden between cliffs and reefs. There, the prisoner, who answers all questions, awaits her arrival.
A ship, sailing to an unfamiliar land, a parable of the past and future, an era that once existed and is yet to come. Is this the answer you've provided? Mr. Aleph?
No, Erd. You will have to find this answer yourself. No one can help you with this. No one.
I see. Thank you, Mr. Aleph. I will remember what you've told me.
Rolls out new, right, and wrong. Rolls in the old instead. All men are dancers and are tread. Goes to the barbarous climber of songs. WB Eats 1919. The end. Oh, okay. It only goes up to 19 this time? Okay. Oh, yeah, I mean 20. It only goes up to 20 this time. Okay. Oh, well, there's like one more thing here. Eavesdrop. Why are you here? Admiral sent me to deliver the latest updates. I think Igor has misunderstood something. Just because we're both here doesn't mean the Apostles Brotherhood and Xeno are obliged to work together. Mr. Santos, you know the preacher said it before. Each and every one of us is their subject. Why don't you just tell me what Igor really sent you here for? Xenos intelligence officers intercepted a message from the Foundation's Buenos Aires branch. A typical Xeno to do something like that. The messenger states that the fleet of the Foundation, including a battleship from and a destroyer, has departed from the north and is heading south. So you're telling me these gray and white checkers are actually sending a fleet? The General wants you to speed up the transport of personnel and supplies and to weaken the manpower of the Foundation's Buenos Aires branch as much as possible. Let me make this perfectly clear. I do not answer to him. But for the preacher and for them, I will fulfill my duty. Tell your Admiral that he doesn't need to worry about anything else. We'll prepare a proper welcome for the Foundation's feeble little fleet. Understood. Nice. Alright, that's all done. Nice. That was nice. I like it. I can't wait for the next version, though. I have... how many pulls do I have now in total? Hold up. So I have... I think I have 19 here, right? Oh, whoops, hold on. This is not the pulls. Here. Here we go. Let's see. I got, oh, 35 plus the 19. Okay. Yeah, okay. So yeah, I'll have enough to get up to pity for Aleph. See if I get him. If I don't get him, then that's fine. I'll get him at a different time. And then I'm gonna like save up for the for a character second half of next version. So yeah, I'm at a pretty good spot, not gonna lie, for pulls. So yeah, not a bad spot for pulls at all. Anyway, that is it. I hope you enjoyed. Tomorrow is Arc Nights. We're gonna be doing the EX stages. I think it opens tomorrow, right? The EX stages open tomorrow, and then we're gonna do some more the day after. Anyway, yep, bye.